Hey guys, Chris here with the Aluminum Fishing Series podcast. Welcome back. And today we've got a local hammer on the show. He is Johnny Levesque. His new brand name is now Johnny Levesque Fishing. He has been around the New Hampshire scene for a very long time, fishing the federation side of things. Now we'll get to all that stuff down the road, but he is now the second person in New Hampshire to make it onto the professional level, and he did it on the other side, the Major League Fishing side, right? So it's almost like you've got the doobie who was recruited by the Canadians, and then you got Levesque who's recruited and jumping up to the show with the Bruins. They're rivals and they're ready to go. It's two completely different trails, but they are at the highest level that you can get for bass fishing. So, John, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate you handling through all the technical difficulties we're having. I'm a bit of a shit show tonight, but that's all right.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm happy to come on board and talk some fishing for sure.
And we also have the hockey thing in common too. And it's funny because hockey, there's a huge parallel to hockey and fishing, because I see a lot of hockey guys that get into the sport, and I feel like it's a big competition thing because I heard something on, I think it was probably a TikTok or something a while ago, and it kind of stuck with me. It was some girl on TikTok, and not what you think. She was talking about being a professional athlete, or a college athlete. I'm sorry, and the guy she was, I guess, dating was asking her, "Oh, so you're a college athlete? That now you're not an athlete anymore. You're out of college, obviously." I guess he asked her, what are you obsessed with now? And she kind of stepped back and went, "Oh, you know what? That tracks, because you're doing so much at a collegiate level with practicing, and you're almost, I mean, you're doing it every day, right? You're invested in this sport, and when it just all of a sudden ends, it's not like you can turn off the light switch, right? So I found fishing after college because I needed to fulfill that competitive edge. And fishing is definitely a sport where you can get heavily invested into it. So
Same thing for me. Absolutely.
there's a parallel, right?
Yeah.
And I'm losing my words, but it's just funny. You think about it. I'm obsessed with it, and it filled a void, and I'm sure
It
that's
was,
what happened with you too.
absolutely. I started fishing at a young age, but I never really knew much about tournaments. And then when I got out of college, someone introduced me to them, and I was like, "This is pretty fun."
Mm-hmm.
And then as I've gotten older, I realized maybe I can do this a lot longer than I can do hockey. So this was the perfect competition type format that I like. I love being friends with everyone, but I
Mm-hmm.
love to compete, and fishing's not easy, so that was perfect for me.
Yeah, and when you're winning, you tend to find a lot more friends because a lot more people talk to you when you win it.
Oh yeah. Oh, when I came in, I was like, man, why is this guy not nice to me? Or like, what's wrong with that guy? This guy just never talks to me. And as soon as you start winning, all these people start becoming your best buds.
It's almost like they have what's the word I'm looking for? This an ulterior motive. That's what it is,
Yeah,
right? They want to
either
pick your brain, and
it's a level of respect too. You have to earn people's respect, and like any sport, I think a lot of guys entering don't realize it right away. But like, you earn, people look at you and think about you differently when you do well. So
agree,
that's a big respect factor, I think.
agree. Where did you start fishing? What was the first trail you started fishing when you
First
found
trail.
competitive fishing?
Well, I started on two trails. I started on the Granite State Bassmasters, or whatever it's called,
Yep.
small club, and Last Cast as well.
Oh,
So
you did do that. Yeah, I knew that.
I did New Hampshire Last Cast, and I was just a non-boater, and I spent years trying to figure out why I suck so bad.
It takes years to figure that out, doesn't it?
Yes,
I'm still figuring it out.
it definitely does. It's tough.
Side note too, John has actually fished my trail as well. He fished a couple. He had a little tin rig. I think he got rid of it, didn't you?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I want another one. I was looking at them all the time. Believe me.
What would you get?
Oh goodness. Well, I had
That's a loaded question. I know.
I had an Illumicraft, which was just easy and cheap, and they sold them down the street, and I kept eyeballing them every time I drove by. So I finally grabbed it one day. not knowing I spent too much money on a new boat.
Mhm.
But I think if I was doing it again, I'd probably just, if I had all the expenses, I'd get a Ranger or a Vexus or something. But
Yep.
I'd take a tracker. I don't care. I just love to be on the water, and to be able to hit a lot of the smaller ponds and stuff would
Yeah.
was what I grew up on. That would be fun.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of guys do that. They have their big rig, and then obviously they're not going to spend another fortune on a second tin rig, but they would go to like a 16 or 17 footer just to hit those, like you said, those small ponds that,
Absolutely.
kind of showed you how to fish while you're growing up, introduced you to fishing when you grew up. So that's what tin rigs are for. You know what I mean? And listen, for the people listening, okay, no, Johnny does not ride a tin rig, but we're going to give him a pass on that. All
That's all
right.
right. That's all right.
Because we've been fishing together for a little bit. I try to stay away from the ones he's in because I know I'll lose. So, I go to different trails. But, he has been a local hammer for, a long time. But specifically the last 2 years, he's made an incredible journey to fish what is now the MLF Invitationals. And I want to go through a little bit of that journey just so people understand if they want to try to do this, that it is possible for, a regular weekend angler who's very obsessed about the sport to make it to a bigger level. I mean, we've proved it the last 3 years, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and not even that, we've had a lot of guys that have made it down to nationals and regionals that had the chance to do it, and they just came up a little bit short. But with that said, talk about the last couple of years, because I know there was a third place finish in there, and then you actually won it the next year, I think, right? So talk about the trails you fished and how you got to where you're at.
Well, for trails I fished, I pretty much just did the TBF Bass Federation for the state, doing open stuff like that. I- I've changed clubs quite a few times for smaller clubs because some of them have kind of gone away, and then some newer ones. So I've had to bounce around a little bit. But I've actually done TBF and Bass. I've qualified for the Bass Nationals and stuff like that. But unfortunately, schedule wise, I wasn't able to go this past year.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, really coming up, like any small club you get in that's TBF federated, and you can actually just be in a bass club, and you can still go and get your TBF membership and a bass membership. It's just like two different leagues, and you can be a
Mm-hmm.
part of both. And then when the time comes around, during the year, they'll have a qualifier event, and if you make it through to the qualifier event, you get to make it to the state qualifier, and then you can go to the regional, and then from the regional, if you're the number one guy from your state, you get to go to the nationals. So I've been super fortunate the last 3 years to go. And, the first year was really bad. I impaled my boat on a tree. And the
I
second
think I
year I
remember
came
that.
in
Yeah.
third, which was a different kind of heartbreak. And
Yep.
then it got better from there. So,
Because when you came in third, you actually fished that final day.
yeah.
Right. So it
Yeah.
was almost, it was like, oh man, I got the shot. And then all of a sudden, because I think only, is it 3 or 4 people fished that final day? I think it's only three.
No, it's the top person from each region. So
Oh, that's
like
what it was. Okay.
there's like the northeast, there's the northern, there's the southern, there's southwestern, stuff like that. So I
So
think
how
there's
many guys? Yeah, it's like
I want
10
to
or
say I
12.
want to say there's 7 divisions throughout the
Gotcha.
country.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
but yeah, the one I came in third, that was kind of a nail biter because I definitely didn't catch any fish in practice, and then the first day of the tournament, I came in with like almost 24 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and I caught it early, so I spent the rest of the day practicing, and then the rest of the tournament, I struggled to duplicate or replicate or really putting them together. So that first day carried me, but yeah, it was a bit of a grind, and then falling off on the last day was like it was a little bit of heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a long ride home.
A lot of pressure. I think it was a long ride home. I think the part that really helped me for this year was I had never had a camera boat and other boats following me around and a camera guy on my boat and drones flying around while I'm trying to catch fish, and
Yeah.
the camera guy's talking to me and he's like, "How do you feel? What's going on? Like what's going through your head?" And I really wanted to tell him some, really bad stuff, but I was just like, yeah.
You kept it PC.
I kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hold
kept
on
it
one
there.
sec, Johnny. I feel like I'm looking down all the time. Let me see if I can readjust my camera.
Okay,
There we go.
so
That's better.
there you
That's better.
go.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, so explain. All right, so we start. Let's start with you fished your. Let's start with the third place finish, right? So let's track your journey there, right? Because it's kind of fun. So you're in an affiliated club with the federation, right? And you can go to the New Hampshire Federation website or any federation website for your state to find your affiliated clubs. I mean, that's first step for anybody that wants to get involved or at least wants to try to do this. Now, don't get me wrong, it's incredibly difficult. Like you're fishing against the best of the best. Everybody wants to get there. But obviously it is possible, right? You put the effort in. I mean, you're obsessed with it. You're familiar with the waters, and you're a phenomenal fisherman. So it couldn't have happened to a better guy, I tell you that. However, let's go back to where it started. What club you were in last year that allowed you to fish that championship with that regional that got you down there, or was it? Did you go to a regional and then a championship?
I did the state qualifier.
Yeah.
That got me to the regional qualifier, and then that got me to the nationals. Yes. So
Yeah, that's
basically,
sweet.
it's not super hard for people. There's a lot of different types of clubs in the state. There's actual weekend tournament clubs, and then there's actually paper clubs. Paper clubs meaning you don't have tournaments per se, but you're a part of a club that's affiliated. That way you can be a part of the organization, even though that you might not compete in the smaller tournaments. You can still go do the opens, and you're still affiliated with it. And when the qualifier comes around, because you're affiliated, that gives you the opportunity to get in and try at the qualifier against other guys that may fish every weekend, doing their club stuff. But for anyone new, there is the opportunity to get in there and do it. And I believe it's similar for bass as well. I think there's some paper clubs for bass as well.
Yeah.
So
I can't keep up with the rule changes every year for bass and
it
federation because
does,
I know
yeah.
there's been a lot of changes at least over the last 5 years, especially with who can fish the STQTs on which side. I get them confused. For the STQT on the federation side, do you have to qualify for that, or is that something you can pay to get in?
So I think the STQT, there's two ways to get in. You can qualify through your club.
Mm-hmm.
Each club, depending upon the club size, gets to send one or two people to the qualifier. So one or two people could be, if I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say there's 20 people in your club. There's
Mm-hmm.
probably a good chance you could probably send two people to the qualifier. So your two top anglers would go. For Paper Club, what they'll do is they'll jump in on an open tournament somewhere, invite everyone from the Paper Club, and whoever in that club finishes one, two, or one, depending upon the size of the club, they get to get the invite. Now that's the automatic invite.
Yep.
You can also buy your way in. The automatic invite is free. You don't have to pay your way in. You
Yep.
automatically get that spot. But you can buy your way in as well. But that's just the qualifier to get to the state, and then to go to the regionals. Honestly, the rules have changed like every year. So I could mess that up a little bit. I could be
Right.
wrong, but that's
It,
how it worked for me, at least.
it's confusing. It's annoying because I
It,
think
it
Bass changed it last year so that you could just pay to get into the STQT.
yeah, I think you can pay. It depends. It depends on the size of how many people are in the organization. I think 3 years ago you couldn't pay to get in. I think last year you could pay to get in,
Yeah.
but that was only the qualifier. I think you have to qualify through the state, and then if you make it to the regional and whatnot. So
Okay. And if it's two per club, typically how many anglers are fishing on STQT?
goodness, we had in our last year, this Maine and New Hampshire, because that's our region, is Maine and New Hampshire.
Yep.
It was basically, we had more guys from New Hampshire in it than Maine had. So we probably have more anglers on the TBF side maybe than Maine does. So we were
Okay.
able to send more people.
Okay.
It might be one of those things where you can buy your way in, and if they have the even amount of numbers, that you can do it, because you have to have an even number of non-boaters as you have boaters.
Right.
So every year you always hear people like, "I'm looking for a non-boater, I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
for a boater," because they want to be able to qualify, but they can't unless they go in with a non-boater.
Right.
If you qualify through your club being like one or two or how many they can send, you don't have to worry about that non-boater spot. You automatically are in. So
Gotcha.
if for some reason at the end of it there's odd number, whoever's at the lowest trying to sign up, if they don't have a number, they won't get in.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's
Oof.
completely confusing, and I could be totally messing up. The rules this year could be totally different, but yeah,
Yeah.
they everything changed. Seem every division, every league seems to. It's the wild west of fishing right now. We don't know
Yeah.
what next year is going to be, and we have no idea.
Yeah. Pretty much. So wait, New York's not in the federation for up here,
uh, there
or at least
and
not
the,
for our division.
No, for TBF, it's Maine and New Hampshire,
That's
and
it.
you're just competing against the New Hampshire guys. You're not really competing against the guys from Maine.
Right.
You know, like maybe to win that event and to get a little money, because you know if you win the regional against the Maine guys, you know whoever places better or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, for bass, the region is actually like Rhode Island, you know, all the way up to here.
There's a bunch.
So
Yeah.
so there's a bunch. But what's interesting is when you go to the Nationals, we're in that same division as Rhode Island, Connecticut, you know, all the way up to here as well. So
Okay.
it's very strange how it works out.
Interesting.
But you got to win your way through your state, really. You're not really competing against other states until you get to the Nationals per se. You're just
Right.
really you're competing against the guys in your state. So
And what to make it to the regionals? What place do you have to be in your state's angler pool?
um
So
that's a good
I know bass because I think you have to come in first or second in your if you make the state team, which is 12 anglers, right?
yep.
You go to the regional, and it's the top two. No, what? See, I'm even getting confused.
Oh, it's confusing. We might have to edit this out, but it's confusing.
Shouldn't we
Um,
know this, John?
it's so hard to understand. It really is. It's really like every year I always try to pay attention. Like, how can I get into the regionals? Like,
Yeah.
what steps do I need to get in the regionals? You know, like, and sometimes there's not some there's not necessarily like a state qualifier. It's basically like you qualify through your club to make it to the regional.
Mm-hmm.
Where bass is, you have a state tournament and the top whatever from the state get to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The top 10 from the state get to go, and now, oh god, it's even worse now. The top 3 get to go and everyone else has to buy their way in, and it's a whole mess. And that's on the bass side. But the TBF side, it's really only one step. It's really just you know, the region, you go right to the regionals if you qualify. So
So it seems a little bit of a straighter path,
it's a little bit of,
maybe I'm not going to say easier path by all means, but it's might be a little bit quicker to get to the regionals. Would that be a safe assumption?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's probably the same as if yeah, I mean, we'll say that there's for bass 10 people get to go to the regionals for bass. You know, the state team. In the past it was 10 guys get to go to the regionals. Now it's for the TBF side, we could potentially send 18 guys from New Hampshire to try to make it. So,
Okay.
as much as it is easier, there's actually more people to compete against. So,
Yes.
like, if I went to the regionals for bass, I'd only have to compete against 9 other New Hampshire guys to get that top spot. Where
Yeah.
on the TBF side, I mean, last year I think it was like 17 or 18 guys or whatever, something like that.
Okay.
But again, it's been changing every year. It depends how many members we have in the federation.
Yeah.
You know, the last few years, you know, we've gone through different presidents and stuff like that. So it's like,
I saw that.
you
Yeah.
know, you never know really what you're going to get into.
And I don't do those events, so it's not the first thing my mind goes to or the first place I go to research because I'm not going after it.
Yep.
I think it might be something I'd do down the road. I just don't know which side I'd go on. But I never had a boat that I could realistically put into competition for that, right? Because sometimes it's on the biggest bodies of water because you need the biggest bodies of water around to get it done because there are so many anglers, and that's Winnie. There's a bunch in Maine, or no, I'm not gonna say a bunch. I'll say a handful in Maine that could hold that many guys or boats, or Champlain,
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. There was a lot of aluminum guys up in Maine in that tournament
Was that Cobby?
where were we on last year? We were on
I mean, it's either got to be
we were
whatever that
yeah,
is.
we were on China Lake. We were on China Lake last year.
Okay.
I think we were on Damariscotta 2 years ago. Last year
Yep.
the year before. Yeah, I mean,
It's
but all those the main lakes. I mean, if you're an aluminum guy, those main lakes where they hold the events, they don't put them on like Sebago. They put them on like a little bit smaller lakes because honestly, there's only, I mean, there's maybe going to be 30 boats, so it's not bad.
true, true. I agree. Did you just say something positive about tin?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to cut that and put it as a little tidbit.
yeah.
Levesque likes tin.
Oh, I love 10. I'm a 10 guy. I honestly, before I did tournaments, I was a 10 guy. I basically night fished because that was the only time I knew how to catch big fish.
Yep.
So I night fished all the time. I loved it, and it was like the best hobby in the world. And the tin boats, man, I kicked the crap out of my tin boat, and it was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I didn't have to worry about wear and tear or nothing. It just goes. So, you
Yeah.
know, I just
Imagine
realized,
imagine tin now.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I'd love to get a new tin boat eventually down the road here. I'll do something. And hey, if I could get a big tin boat to sponsor me somewhere, I'd definitely do it for sure. But
I love that.
I definitely I knew I had to get in the fiberglass because just these bigger bodies of water. And if I was really going to go for it, I didn't want to get to the point, which I'd had to do this before when I did run a tin rig. I made it to the St. Lawrence for the Bass Regionals, and there was no way I was going to run the St. Lawrence in a tin. So
No. Yeah.
I borrowed a friend's fiberglass, which was fine, but it's not easy. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world borrowing someone's boat. So,
True. True. And how long ago was that?
oh goodness, that was honestly that was my first or second year getting into tournament fishing. I went
Yeah.
as a non-boater. We had our regionals on we had our state qualifier on Champlain,
Mm-hmm.
and as a non-boater, I came in second overall, just throwing a Senko around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I actually it was different rules back there, and I as a non-boater because I came in second, that qualified me as a boater. So the top 10 were
Okay.
boaters, and the 10 through 20 were non-boaters.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
Yeah.
so I borrowed someone's boat, and I was a boater.
That's a riot that it was a top 20, right? Because now it's top 12, I think, and the first six are boaters and the last six are non-boaters, at least on the bass side.
Yeah, so
But
that was the bass side. Yep.
yeah, but imagine doing that now with the aluminum rig like uptick, right? The beefier tin rigs that are coming out now. You could have run the
Oh,
St. Lawrence with something.
Oh, when I was down on the Toyota Championship and some of these other places driving around the country, I mean, Keith Poche's running the Gator tracks, and he's going
Yeah.
up in no water, and he came in with almost 30 pounds one day. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hey, all respect to the 10 guys, and I know I had a tin boat. I could go places I could never get right now. So
Yeah. Did you see what they did to Poche though?
what's that?
So he that little Gator tracks that he was running. That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got two of them. He's got a smaller
He's
one and
got
a bigger one.
and a strike series. He's got the strike series, but he loves the little one because that's his
Yep.
off the grid boat. But apparently they set a minimum of 150 horsepower on the engine, and he was the only one that was affected.
Yeah, he's funny. I feel like I don't know if it's because he has a tin rig or just maybe he jumps a lot of stuff going onto creeks and stuff like that. So I think more or less they just try to like maybe they feel I don't know if you know what it is. Fishing's a very political sport. People get very jealous. It gets very political. Things happen. I'm gonna guess it's something along the lines of that because he's a really good fisherman.
Yeah,
He's in my series this year. So
he is. He is. That's
yeah,
right. He so my thought on it is a safety issue, right? At the visibility level of the MLF, I don't think they want to promote jumping beaver dams, jumping over hard structure because it could be potentially unsafe for people. So
right.
they don't want to be in that. So I think that's why they did it. That's
Yeah,
my personal opinion. And he might have caused a little bit of a stink with some of the things he says about it too. So he might be not on their good list, but I talk with him. He's awesome. That guy's hilarious.
he is a
I'd
good
party.
guy. Yeah,
I'd party with him, 100%.
yeah, absolutely.
And
I'd go out with him. Take me
yeah,
out, Keith. Like
it,
I want to get out there.
right. Like I want to jump a dam with him. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, let's go fish
Um,
6 inches of water together. I'm up for
and
it.
and that strike series is ridiculous. The prices on those things, like I bet you that would be just like riding in fiberglass. That thing is an absolute beast.
I've never seen one in person until I seen his, and I was pretty impressed. what was
Yeah,
funny is when he was practicing at the last event, he was running this really small one in practice,
of course.
and he was making a run that was far, and I'm like, man, how's he gonna get there? But then I think he showed up with the bigger one when the tournament came.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's a smart idea.
Yeah,
Because that he puts that boat through the ringer, the little one.
yeah.
So I'm sure he you know tested the waters, and I guess figuratively speaking, and then was like, all right, I can bring the big boat up there. But
I like that.
they're sick rigs though.
I liked when he put his up for sale on his post, and he's like, "Oh, brand new, haven't put a scratch on it, never gone anywhere bad or nothing." And then we've all
Yep.
seen the videos, so it's like,
I sent him a note on that, but I sent him an email. I
"Did
was like,
you?"
"What's the price?" And he wrote back. He goes, "Just throw me an offer. Doesn't matter." Yeah. I mean, it was like all fully garaged, always maintained, blah blah. And,
Yeah,
he obviously he knows everybody's watching this shit, and
yeah, yeah.
he's just beating the hell out of it.
He's
But
he's he's made a name for himself, and that's his niche, and we all have to find one, and he's found it, and it's good for him. It works.
right, that's his brand. That's his
Yeah,
brand, and
absolutely.
he's getting the eyes for it. Yeah. What's your brand going to be?
Oh, my
I know
brand.
we've talked about this offline. I know, but
Yeah, I
what do you
think
think?
we've talked about the hockey thing. I think I'm going to roll that
Yeah.
into it in the future as things go on. Honestly, as like a rookie jumping on tour and the finances that go into it, I'm just concentrating on trying to be, competitive, and hopefully
Yeah.
this is a good year. And then if this grows into me doing more of these and doing it again next year, or whether I do the MLF or I go do the Bass Opens, I think next year will be more of a launching pad for building more of a brand for myself, I think.
Yeah.
Right now I'm just trying to get my feet wet, not make a fool of myself, and hopefully not come back too many times with my tail between my legs.
Well, so I don't even know if I want to talk about this because I don't want to give this idea away. But like the stuff on YouTube right now for branding is all about partnerships. It's like you go and you see right now you see Jacob Wheeler and Hunter Shryock, you know, doing the partnership with Icon, or it's Icon, right? I think he's with Icon. Yeah, Wheeler owns a stake in Icon,
Yep.
but like they're doing videos together, adventures. Zaldane, he's doing adventures with his wife and a bunch of guys in South Africa. Like that's the stuff that's getting the views now. Everyone's going on adventures and branding outside of professional fishing. They're going after other stuff. Um, and that got my wheels turning, right? To be like, why don't we get a bunch of guys that fish but also played hockey and do like a bunch of hockey fishing videos,
Yeah.
right? Almost like the golf. Like, do you watch any of the golf content on YouTube?
A little bit, yeah.
Like that shit's hilarious. Like Bob Does Sports and all those guys from Barstool, or is it Barstool? I think it's Barstool.
Yeah.
But they're doing all the stuff together because it's just more fun when you have a bunch of goofy guys just having fun on a course or having fun on the water and stuff like that. That's why that team tournament stuff that MLF was doing, it was getting great reviews because people love to see the two guys in the boat, rubbing each other or like, you know, yelling at each other and just to see the interaction between them is just a lot of fun to watch.
Oh
You know?
yeah, and you put you really have to have a big personality to be just a solo guy doing a lot of the filming on your own. And and
Yeah.
and people are kind of gonna might get sick of you. People are gonna judge you. But if you have two guys that are great personalities and feed off each other and have a good time, I mean, the sky's the ceiling, you know?
Right? I mean, dude, you go out, you wear a hockey jersey, just like
Oh
Happy
yeah,
Gilmore on a boat. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Come
yeah.
on,
We'll go
you
out in like
gotta
a Bruins and a Canadians jersey, and then
rival.
we'll yeah,
No,
rivalry.
I'm editing that out. I'm editing it out. We can't promote that right now because we're gonna do it. Can't get everybody the idea. All
Yeah.
right. And then people can vote on what hockey team they want or hockey team angler that they want to win. Dude, this is writing itself.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on, let's do this.
It would be pretty funny. I have a Bruins guy on my hockey team right now. Like, I mean, not that we'd steal what Charlie Moore could do, but like, you get a couple people that I have tons of friends. They love all the athletic guys are the guys that played professionally, no matter what
Yeah,
sport it is. They all, like you said earlier, they all love fishing. They all love the outdoors. It's the
yeah,
competitiveness or just getting on the water, and like to take those guys out and have a good time and make fun of it. Like that'd be a really
yeah.
good time.
And again, what sport has the coolest guys?
Exactly. Yeah.
hockey,
Yep. Yep. Guys that will fight, but will be your best friend.
and they'll have a blast. They'll friggin', you know, like Marshawn on what was it, Brick? Not Brick, Bissonette.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
saw all that stuff. I mean, that
Yep.
stuff's hilarious. And there's no other sport that's going to do that. They're going to be all PC. Hockey doesn't give a shit. And that's
No,
what makes
hockey.
them the coolest guys around.
I mean, at the end of the day, these are all guys that will fight each other on the ice and then have the time of their life drinking beers together afterwards with black eyes and bloody lips.
Yeah, they can leave it out there. That's
Yep.
the best. That's
Absolutely.
really cool. So,
Yeah.
anyways, keep that in your back pocket for when you get back at the end of the year after
Oh, yeah.
after winning 3 events.
Oh
Right,
boy, that'd be
that's my
awesome.
prediction. Yeah.
Oh God.
Um,
I love
but
it.
let's talk about your rig. I know it's not a tin rig, but I do want to talk about it because you've been running.
Okay.
I think it's a Bass Cat for a while, right?
Yep.
Is it the Bass Cat? Yeah.
Yep. Yep, I got a new bass cat. This is my third cat. I guess once you get in them, you fall in love. So this is my third one, and
Yeah.
I mean, in a million years, I would have never been able to afford one. So to win the nationals and win a Ranger, and knowing that I like to go fast, I traded in the Ranger and got a bass cat. And oh man, this thing's awesome. It's the new style STS. It handles big
Yeah.
water good, and it, it's so good. I just got one of my friends to sell his Phoenix and get one.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah.
So it's carpet though, right?
What's that?
You still a carpet guy, or you going marine deck?
I have Marine Deck in the console.
In the console. Okay. Okay.
Yep, just in the console. What I noticed with the Marine Deck, it gets really dirty. You got to kind of power wash it.
It does.
That
Yeah.
EVA foam they have, yeah, it gets kind of dirty easily. And then you just got to go to the car wash, give it a little spray, and it's good. But
Yeah. Well, you notice a lot of the guys that do have that now that are filming a lot. They have like that darker. They don't go light on the marine vinyl, or they do a lot of like dark gray, black kind of
yeah,
patterns. So
yep,
it doesn't look as dirty as it would if it was lighter. But
yeah.
um,
I don't know that I'd love it up on the front deck and everything, but because I've seen a few like that and everything, and I don't know that I love it that way, but I'm a big fan of how mine came out with just the console and stuff like that. So I'm
yeah,
pretty excited. And plus,
nice.
hey, you get to take the missus out with you every once in a while. They're gonna want to lay down on the carpet. You know what I mean? Because they're not fishing for long.
No,
8 hour day.
did you bring a lounge chair out there? You don't let her lay on the carpet.
Oh, lay on bring your blanket, whatever. Are you kidding me? When the big boats go by, I turn the boat so the waves go over the back of the boat and wake them up.
Nice, nice. That last time they'll be out with you.
Hey, whatever it
You
takes.
played it smart, right? That's like doing the laundry wrong, so they so they never ask you to do it again. Um, so how fast is that boat go?
I got it up to 82 down in Alabama,
Oh Jesus
which
Christ!
is pretty wild. So I'm
Yeah,
it's quick. I mean, normally any 75 to 79 is like regular probably conditions that we have up here. That was on like a tidal, like a river type water, so I had
gotcha,
a little bit of help with that one.
gotcha. Now, hold. Let me backtrack a little bit because you mentioned
Sure.
something. I want to go back to it.
Yep.
So you did mention, so when we were talking about the branding stuff, what kind of personality you're going to be, and you said I'm just going to kind of go into this season, without anything yet, and just kind of test the waters, right? Now, I
Mhm.
also think that's a timing thing. So when did you find out that you were getting an invite to the invitationals?
Right after I won the nationals, they didn't tell me right away, but I did notice in the fine print that that at Major League Fishing, who gets invited to the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, that was one of the avenues. If you win the nationals, whoever won the nationals got invited. So I actually was really good friends with the guy that I lost to last year or the year before.
Okay,
And I had asked him, like, hey, man, did you get invited? And he's like, oh, yeah, So he wasn't able to do it because he couldn't get 6 weeks off of work. But that's kind of how I found out. And then I talked to them and they're like, oh, yeah. So I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, is this going to happen? Like, how am I going to do this? And it was really like it was a long drawn out few months to figure out, like, hey, could I do this? Like, am I going to be
yeah.
able to do this with work? Is this financially going to work? I still don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to make it work. So
Well,
everyone,
when did you formally get that email, that invite?
um, oh goodness, probably around October, I believe.
Okay.
I knew it was coming. I did talk to the director ahead of time,
Yeah.
asking, and then I did get a formal invite probably a month before everyone had to make a commitment.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew. I was like, oh goodness, I got to make a commitment. So a commitment. So this all happened like really fast, where I didn't really. I could have probably got a good 4 or 5 months in on working on my brand and everything like that, but I was really just kind of like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. So
Yeah. Well, this is my point. So you didn't have time. So you
no.
find out in October that you got to be leaving mid February. You have to now find sponsors that are going to help. If you can't come up with that 35 grand, which is the entry fee cost for the MLF Invitationals, right?
Mhm.
You have to you basically have to outfit your boat for a professional series of events.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
I gotta. I'm getting it wrapped this coming week, and I'm supposed to have logos and everything on it, and I'm like right up against it. I leave in 2 weeks.
right? Like there's just a lot of stuff to do, and your full time job. So
Exactly.
there almost wasn't enough time to do it. I mean, you've done a lot in the last 3 months to get ready to go on this trip and make your dream a reality, which is awesome. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And on that note, let's talk about some of the sponsors that you got helping you out and bring you down there, because I know there are a lot of local New Hampshire or New England companies that are helping you as well. So let's talk about those right now, because I want to give them some visibility for helping you live your dream.
Absolutely. I got a little list of them right here because I've been
Yes.
doing all right. I got more on the way, but right now I got well, let's start from the bottom. I got Turncycle Solutions, what is a construction company here in Nashua, my hometown. They're like
Very
a
nice.
green energy type, construction company. I actually how I got in with them is I worked with them years ago as their painter. I have a painting business, so I was their guy for a few years. I maintained a good relationship with them. They started their business probably when I started mine, so we've always kind of maintained our friendship. I don't work for them as much anymore, but great guys, and I got in there, and then
What do they build? What kind of structures would they build?
they do honestly they've grown so much. They had a small office with just like one sales guy and everything. Like now they have. I went and checked out. They got a giant office. They got all kinds of trucks. They got tons of guys
Yeah.
working for them. They're doing commercial, residential. They're they're spread pretty wide right now, doing a lot of different things, which is awesome. Like
Very nice.
it's pretty impressive to see what they've done.
So that's Turn Cycle Construction.
Turn Cycle Solutions.
Turn Cycle Solutions. Okay.
Yep,
Awesome. Very good. Very good.
yep,
Out of Nashua. All right.
yep. They're out of Nashua. I've actually got this sponsor through one of my hockey teammates, family-owned business, TST Hydraulics. Um, they're a hydraulic company. They don't really produce anything like locally, that we would use or anything. They make parts for businesses, like Atlas hydraulic jack plates have,
Yep.
they don't make theirs, but they do a lot of ocean stuff and a lot of big
Mm,
boats and stuff like that. They're just involved in that end of everything.
nice.
They're a pretty good company, and they're one of my bigger sponsors. And I've had a good
Very nice.
relationship with the family since I was a little kid playing hockey. So, you know, when you get
Very
into
nice.
something like this, you gotta test all avenues. So I'm very fortunate there.
And sorry,
Um,
say the name of the company again. Sorry.
the name of the company is TST Hydraulics.
TST Hydraulics. Go check them out,
Yep,
everybody.
yep.
Very nice.
The other company is Legacy Mortgage, and they are my my teammate that I did opens with for the last 7 or 8 years now. It's his
Is
business.
that
He
is that
started.
Rob?
Yep, yep. He
Oh, nice.
started his mortgage company. Oh goodness, I don't know, maybe 5 6 years ago now. I could have that wrong. Could be off a year, but they're doing great. They're up in northern New Hampshire. They're in the up near Sunapee. I believe they're in Hanover, New Hampshire. So
Nice.
they're doing really well, and it's a good group. I have a lot of friends in the mortgage industry, and it just so happens everybody knows each other. So it's pretty wild.
Nice. Well, I was what mortgage again? What was the company
Legacy
name?
Mort Legacy Mortgage.
Legacy Mortgage. All right. If you guys want to get your HELOC in before the end of the year, if you want to do some cashback refis,
Oh
at
yeah,
9%,
you
go see Legacy
you
Mortgage.
need a vacation home, you got to go talk to them. They got it.
Actually,
Uh,
we're looking to do something with our cottage.
Oh,
from a mortgage
nice.
point of view because we need some money to build a room.
Oh yeah.
We don't want our kids sleeping in our bedroom anymore. He's a little too old.
It's getting awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
So another one I have is Bass Fishing Electronics. I think we all know who they are. Steve from Bass Fishing Electronics opened his business up here, and every year it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and they're crushing it. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got everything, and he rigged my boat just recently and did all kinds of work on there, and oh man, the thing looks awesome. They do such good work,
yeah,
and honestly, I've been rigging my aluminums to all my bass cats. I've always done my own rigging because I always felt like if I had an issue on the water, I want to know where everything is, and after seeing the work that they've done, um, I'm almost embarrassed with my rigging compared to theirs.
yeah,
Theirs is unbelievable. I mean, just under the front console, like right under my trolling motor and all the wiring under there, where everything intersects, they took a piece of foam and wrapped a zip tie around the foam. So when the boat's bouncing around, none of the connections are bouncing around. I wouldn't
yeah,
even thought of that. So
yeah.
pretty impressive. And
And again with them, in very short amount of time, they've been around for how long?
oh, goodness, I could be wrong, but probably like 5 or 6 years, I think.
Right? And I was going
Yeah,
to say something like that too. So not very
yeah,
long, but it just
no.
shows you how good they are. We're starting a business and being I think they're the top people up here for this for electronics rigging on
Oh
your
yeah,
boats.
they could be one of the top people in the country. I mean,
Yeah,
his online sales is completely grown.
yep,
If he got rid of rigging boats, I'm sure he'd still survive on his online businesses and everything. And
yeah,
if you go to the Elite Series, you go to all the Major League Fishing events, their logos are everywhere. So I mean,
yeah,
it's happened fast, and they're crushing it. They're great people there. I love those guys.
yes.
I always stop in and bring them coffees and try to kiss a little butt.
Nice, well done.
So another company I have is Liberty Hill Construction. They're a company here in Bedford, New Hampshire. They're actually the company that I work for currently, doing all their painting. I'm
Oh,
their
nice.
I'm
Okay.
their I'm their guy. I got to make sure I keep them happy, and they do really high end remodels. Um, maybe some standalone structures, stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I mean, their quality of work is like, if I was to, you know, reference or tell anyone that was really looking for good work, I would point them in their direction. Absolutely.
Okay. So, what are you kind of sponsoring yourself there? Is that a
What's that?
conflict of interest? Is that a conflict of interest, John?
Not really, not really. I mean, no, honestly, I have my own customers from the past that I've worked with over the years, and they're like, "Oh, we want to redo our kitchen and our bath. You know anyone?" And like, I I hate referring people because you never know,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they're going to end up with. But I am completely comfortable referring them. They are a really great
Awesome.
company. Liberty
And
Hill
that's
Construction.
Liberty Hill Construction. Liberty Hill.
Yep, yep. And then I also have Monadnock Roofing, which is a fishing guy that's in our community, Garrett Sapala. He's got he co-owns a business. He's got a commercial and a residential side of roofing,
Nice.
and they've jumped on board here, and
Very
I'm,
nice.
I'm I'm super happy to have him. I got to tap into our fishing community a little bit there,
Yep.
and it's been very rewarding.
What's he? What trails he fish?
Um, I don't know what he's fishing this year. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I've one of the first qualifiers I ever did in bass on Winnipesaukee. He was my boater, so like I've known him for years. I was his
Nice.
a few
Nice.
times. So
Does he run
just
a tin rig by any chance?
no, he was a skeeter guy. What's he in now? He's gonna kill me that I don't remember. Oh no, he's getting an Icon.
He
He's gonna
is.
he just bought an Icon. Should I not be
Oh.
telling anyone? Oh shoot,
Oh.
I might
So
have blew
the
up his spot.
so roofing business is doing pretty well, I would imagine.
It must be going well. It must be going well. That's too funny.
That'll be. I haven't seen an icon up here yet, so he might be one of the few.
Oh,
That's nice.
there's actually if you go to Bass Fishing Electronics, they had like 4 or 5 in there the other day. So I
Really?
mean, yeah, people are buying them.
Oh.
They're up here more than I don't know who's selling. Oh, Richie at Thayer's Marine sells them. And
Ah. Okay. Okay.
that's where I got my boat as well.
Gotcha.
I got a tree service here, Duchamp Tree Service, veteran owned. He's right here in Nashua. Someone else I played high school hockey with his brother, and the owner Bobby now has been a good friend of mine, and he played hockey with me as well.
Nice.
And they're on board, and they're great guys, great company, veteran owned, and thanks for your service.
How far do they travel?
Um, that's a good question.
So if you could email me all these contacts, because I mean, all these construction, roofing, and tree guys, it's
Okay,
perfect for the job that we're looking to do at the cottage. So if I can give them
absolutely.
some business, I'd love to do it.
Where is your cottage?
Moltenboro,
Oh,
Balmoral.
awesome,
Yeah, it's
awesome.
right. It's right. Right next to States Landing.
So this one's kind of a fun one. This is Hog Squad. Nobody probably knows what it is yet, but
Okay.
one of my friends builds baits, and it's definitely baits that I use that no one else has, and he's gonna come up and about at some point. But my buddy up in Maine builds baits for me, and that's their company.
All right.
Uh,
That sounds like it would be like a hockey locker room soap manufacturer.
yeah, yeah. Well, I should get him a bar of soap and engrave his logo on there. It'd be great. Soap on a rope, throw it to him over at the
Yep.
weigh-in or something. That's so funny.
Hog Squad.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a pond hockey classic team name if I've ever heard one.
yeah,
Right. If
yeah.
you're ever doing the over 45 shinny, I'm in and I
You
want
know,
to be on that
you
team.
know, you know what? I should work on them because our hockey team needs a sponsor and needs some jerseys. Those would look awesome. Some
They look unreal. Yeah.
Hog Squad jerseys. That's great. So that was just fun. That's my buddy. I'm gonna promote my friend. Gonna get him up and going. Put
Very
his
nice.
put his logo somewhere on the boat and have some fun with it. Um,
What's he want to be known for? Or does he know yet? Is he just kind of testing the waters, I guess you could
I
say.
think he's just dabbling. He's not. I don't think he's looking to get into like building baits for a living because he's still
Yep.
competing and doing tournaments. But you know, he helps out a lot of his close friends and builds baits for people. And
Nice.
and actually, I hung out with a bunch of pros this weekend from down south, and they knew about him. So that's pretty good.
Very nice. Very nice.
He's friends with the right people.
Very nice. Who you
So
hanging with? Was that Weatherall?
uh, Tristan McCormick. I think he won the national championship twice.
Nice.
One of those kids, and it's a young sport now. Us older
Yeah.
guys are like, holy cow! I can't tell you how many times I've traveled out to these events, and I'm like, wow, everyone's so young. I mean, there's still the older guys like the Matt Herons and the Poches. Not that he's old, but like older than all these young
Older, yeah.
kids guys. Yeah, and then there's a lot of young guys now. It's I mean, I'm getting into it late, I feel like, but it's a young sport. It's growing with our high school and college teams and everything like that, which is which
Yeah.
is which is kind of wild. And
It's
they're
wild, but it's like how does I
it's
mean, where do they get the money? I'm just gonna ask. Like, where do they get the money?
I mean,
They
maybe
need the money, right? I mean, they're
I don't want
probably
to get in
taking out some
trouble.
loans or
I don't
debts.
want to I don't want to piss anyone off, but
I know,
I
I
look
know.
around too and I'm like, oh, that's a nice truck. That's a really nice boat. And like they're not working, so I don't
Right,
know, and there ain't that much money to be won in fishing, so I'm not really sure.
right, and
I'm
yeah,
family businesses. I'm gonna guess it's a family business, you know. Some
that's
of
what I'm
us,
thinking. And part of me is like, I feel bad saying that because I'd help my kid if he wanted to do it as well. And give him all the benefit of the doubt to let them, maybe pay you back later. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just help them do what they need to do, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's.
it's a
I think we're seeing a lot of that, a lot more of that now, just because kids need a lot more money to get into the sport.
yeah.
With all the live scope, all the technology, the
It,
boats, stuff like that.
it's different. It's a definitely a different avenue. I mean, like for an example, someone that's very successful that chose col- chose to do fishing instead of college. You get Tyler Williams up in Maine.
Yeah,
I mean, his parents helped him, travel the country and go and do all the Bass Opens and stay on the road and do it all. And I think they have a family business. And I mean, look, it worked out for him.
yeah,
Some of us aren't necessarily, I probably make more than my parents. So I don't, and I'm not rich. I'm probably going to be the most broke pro out there this year. But like, I definitely, you get jealous looking around and seeing all these young guys with all the financial backing in the world. But
you
like we
do.
said, it's a different world now. And a lot of them come in from it, from the social media platform a lot
Yeah,
sooner than we're all getting into it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And a
And
lot of them
I
are,
hope. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, a lot of them are schooled in it. A lot of them go to school. Like Tristan McCormick, he went to school, I believe, for like business marketing and everything, which is
Yeah.
like you put that with fishing, and now you're like, you know, if you're good at fishing and business marketing,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now you're talking.
Very much so. And I will say this, just as a caveat to the last, 2 minutes, be humble about it too. If you're listening to this, you're a young kid who's getting a lot of help to be able to do what you want to do. Be humble about it. You know, give your parents a shout out if they're helping you. Say, listen, they're helping me do my business, and I love them for it. Love your parents for it. Don't go out and think that everyone's gonna. Don't think you're entitled. Let's put it that way.
I
Um,
think we all notice that when the young kids come up, whether they're humble or not, and it's if people are humble and friendly and okay winning or losing and are just friendly with everyone, those tend to be the people that make it. The people that are really it's a very political sport, just like
yeah,
any sport may be, and if you rub people the wrong way, it's not an easy route.
correct. And I guess there's another parallel with hockey, right? If you're a rookie coming up in the hockey ranks, you better respect your elders and respect the game, or you're
Yeah,
going to get put down quick.
yeah, you better pick up pucks at the beginning or after practice. You're going to be going to get everybody their sticks or water bottles. Like you're gonna have to do a little other things besides just fish or just win.
Correct.
You gotta
Correct.
kiss a little ass. That's important.
Right. Remember that you're there to be a role model for, again, another generation that's going to come up. So, we want to respect all levels of the game, all levels of the sport.
So I got a couple more. I got a couple more companies that I work with.
All right, hit me.
Um, I got McKennedy Masonry, one of the other guys that's in the fishing community. Really great guy. We became pretty good friends this year. Went out fishing a couple times, and he wanted to jump on board and get his logo on the boat. And he's got a great masonry company. Works here in southern New Hampshire. I think a little bit in northern Mass. So another great company, McKinley Masonry.
McKinley Masonry, very nice. Thank you, thank you.
Yep. And then we got Landry Wood Flooring.
I
One
know
of the
that. I know that name.
Yep, yep. Rick
Yep.
owned Rick owned the company with his brother Emery. Rick sold his share and to Emery, and Rick moved to Florida. And Emery's jumped on board with me, and we've always been good friends. And that's a hardwood floor company that I've followed them around and done work with them over the last 10 years or so. So
Yep.
they're really good friends of mine, and they've gotten me in with builders, and I've got them in with builders, and one hand washes the other. So it's a good
Very
thing.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah. And then, hey, I don't really care to promote myself, but I got my own Levesque Painting and Services. I'm not. Don't call
You,
me for
you
any work. I'm busy. But
until when? Until like September or
yeah,
something, right?
yeah. Call me in like July or something or August, and then we can maybe put you on the schedule. Because right now I am gonna be floating in it. I'm working 10 and 12 hour days right now just to make everyone happy. I'm hiring guys. I got guys helping
Mhm.
me out. I'm trying to keep all my builders happy and all my customers happy, and it's never an easy thing to do. So
you gotta get used to promoting yourself. I still don't like doing that myself either. But
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna get used to it.
yep.
It's gotta happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of these years when I'm tired of doing the physical part of it, I'll definitely put a good crew of some people together and try to you know branch out and take on more work and help
Nice.
everybody out. But
Good.
right now I'm like a working machine right now, so I can't do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. What all right, so is that's your sponsor cue right there?
Yep.
Very nice. So I will link those sponsored companies in the YouTube video comments, and all the blogs that we do on this podcast.
Love it. Thank you.
All right. No worries. Hopefully we'll get us some business for helping you out. Um, let's talk about the electronics on your boat, because MLF's got some new rules this year. I was just reading that the invitationals, you're allowed, what is it, 2 transducers and or 360. What the heck is the rule?
All right. Here's the rule.
It's late. It's Monday. Tell me the rule.
In practice, in the 3 days of practice, you could have 10 transducers on your boat. You can run transducers everywhere. You can go nuts, do whatever you want in practice. When it comes to the tournament, they're going to take your plugins that plug into the back of your unit and they're going to disconnect it from the back of your unit and put a lockbox on it. You're only allowed to run 2 units. You can either run one forward facing and one in perspective for your forward facing sonar. So you could run
Mhm.
two of those, or you can run one in forward or perspective and a 360. So you
Okay.
can only have two. Um, on That's on day one and on day three of the event. If you make it to day three, you can use up to
And go
two
back.
units. You can use 2D wherever side scan. You can still do all the original stuff there. On
Okay.
day two, they lock out all your technology except for your 2D and side scan. So on day two
Okay.
of the events, it's going to be the Wild West, and we'll see how everyone holds up. And the shallow guys might prevail, and we'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting. That's why
Yeah.
it's definitely, this is an interesting year in fishing with all the leagues. The rule, even when they came out with the rules have changed like two or three times. There was a screen size, you can only have so many
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
That's kind of changed. They had how high you can have your unit in front, because some of those guys have those big long poles on the front of the boat that hold their
Yeah.
unit way up so it's in your face. So there was a height rule there. I don't think that's still in effect anymore.
It shouldn't
um
be. Yeah.
no. And honestly, for me, I do have forward facing technology, but I only have one. I got one forward facing unit, and that's all I have. I mean, I've been doing that for years. Um, I will say I do scope, but I was very successful before scope came out, just fishing shallow and fishing grass and fishing structure. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm comfortable either way. Um, my boat, I had a 10-inch unit that was a Garmin forward facing, so I never had like the 12 or 16s that a lot of other guys had. And then I just had a 9-inch Lowrance up front and a 12-inch at the console. So I've never had the most highest end units or anything. And I'm going to go into this year, and because I'm not rich, I'm going to run my old carbons, and I upgraded my Garmin up front to a 12-inch, and that's
Okay.
what I'm going with.
Nice. So
I'd
you got
love to do
a 12-inch Garmin and a carbon 9
9
or
inch,
9 on the front.
just a 9. All I use that for is just my waypoints.
Yeah.
I mean, I will use it for my 2D once that happens, but I think in the first event, I'm going to be grass fishing, so I'm not necessarily going to need it.
Very nice. Very nice. And then on the console, you're running
Just a 12-inch.
a 12-inch. Okay.
Yep.
You can see over the dash.
Yeah, I can see over the dash.
See, my boat now, I had a 12 at the console and a 9 up front, and I'd sit down and I couldn't see. I had to move the
Oh, really?
12. I had to move the 12 up front and the 9 to the console, and I was like,
Oh,
"This is
yeah.
perfect," because I wanted the 12 up front. The 12 up front's it's perfect. You need a 12 up front at some point
Yeah.
if you're a fisherman.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
well, let me ask you about your battery stuff, because I just went through and this, I don't know if this isn't breaking or anything, but I am going through financing right now to see if I can afford a new boat and get a new boat.
Hmm.
And the biggest, like, I went back and forth for probably 2 weeks about what kind of battery system I wanted in this boat. So I'm curious to know what you did.
So for this boat that I have now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna run two 36-volt, 60 amp trolling batteries.
Okay.
I'll probably put them in line, so I have 120,
Yeah.
running together. So that's what I'm gonna run right now. I'm gonna run a regular uh, AGM cranking battery, just a regular, your normal lead acid cranking battery.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have one lithium 12 volt. I think I got a 125 that will just run my electronics.
Oh,
For,
okay. So you went
for
different. Okay.
for years, I ran one 36-volt, 60 amp battery and one lithium battery, and I just ran those two. And if I was to give you advice, you can get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only doing the 236s because I'm going to be trolling from sun up to sundown for a week straight. So it's just to have the little extra, just in case something happens.
True. And if one battery goes out, you got to reserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what a lot of guys are doing now. A handful of years ago, those 24-volt and 36-volt single lithium batteries, nobody really trusted them yet.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to be the standard.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what I went through. So I went through, and the boat I was looking at was kind of limited in space in the back. But my first thought when I was first, looking at the cost on this boat was I wanted a 36 volt, right? So I was going with 312s,
Hmm.
100 amp hour, right? And I'm like, okay, that gets the job done. But then obviously you get a charger for that, and I upgrade to an AGM for the cranker.
Hmm.
Again, I'm not professional. I'm just doing like fun tournament fishing on the weekends. I might do a big event every once in a while. Um, but then I went the route of trying to figure out if I wanted to do a 36, and I started researching the 36s. And I was always a guy that said I need 100 amp hours because I burn this thing,
Hmm.
right? I need at least 100 amp hours on any system that I'm going to do because I'm doing this so fast. I've got a 24 volt system on my current boat, and they're 212s with 100 amp hours on each. So, again, for the people that don't know, when you put two batteries in series, your amp hour stays the same. So that would be a 24 volt system, 100 amp hours total. When you start putting things in parallel, that's when your voltage stays the same, but your amp hours jump up. So when
Hmm.
John's talking about 236 volt, 60 amp hours in parallel, you've got 36 volts, but 120 amp hours.
Correct.
So when I was doing I was looking into the 36s. I'm like, I mean, I have to get 100 amp hour, right? And I'm looking at it, I'm going, that's just very expensive. And I'm trying to like nickel and dime this boat because it's already friggin' wicked expensive. Um, so I started researching about the 60 amp hours. And everything I read was guys that ran 136 60 amp hour with the brushless stuff could never burn it down. They'd beat the bank for 10 hours and they'd still never burn it down. And
Yep.
it just, the more I researched on that, the more I thought I can probably just get away with one 36 volt 60 amp hour battery
If you're running a tin
and be
rig,
okay.
if you're running a TIG rig, you definitely can. Because I did it on my fiberglass for years and just the run of the one, and I was like, and I couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
I couldn't kill it at all.
Yeah, and I'm not practicing, the way you're going to be practicing 3 days in a row, right? I'm 99% of the tournaments that I do or the fishing that I do, I'm able to plug in the day after, like that night.
Hmm.
So I don't really need anything too extensive. If I want, if I do get this, I'll have that 36 volt 60 amp and I'll burn the hell out of it and see what I can do with it.
Hmm.
But because I was so nervous about that, I ended up reaching out to these guys right here, PowerPole, one of the sponsors for my trail, to see about the PowerPole charge.
Hmm.
And they gave me a great discount because we're partners. So I was able to get a discount on that. And now I have what I have on the quote is a 36 volt 60 amp hour with a PowerPole charge. Now, for people, do you know what a PowerPole charge does?
Yes, I have something similar, but yes.
What do you have?
So I have a stealth charger
Okay.
that they're a little harder to get, but I got one a little while ago because I was like you running just 136. And I was like, oh, well, if I ever have an issue or something like that. And it actually saved me one time. I blew my lower end and I had the troll for 12 miles. And thank God the 36 volt batteries have the Bluetooth. I could see how much percentage I have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since I blew my lower end, I could still start my motor. As long as my big motor was running, that stealth charger charges up to 36.
Yes.
So I was able to like just get back to the launch with like 8% battery. Whereas if I didn't have the a power pull charge or a stealth charge, I I, I would have been asking somebody to tow me in. I would have been waving everybody down, like pulling the whistle
Mm.
out.
So you have that in the boat now?
Not in this boat, just because I think I'm going to run the 236 volts, so I shouldn't
Yeah.
have an issue. But
Okay.
I might put it in there. But I have had that when I've ran the 136, kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? So for
Hmm.
the people that don't know about the charge, and obviously I want to promote their product, but even the dealer that I'm getting the boat at had unbelievable things to say about it. He's like, this thing is awesome. So when I went through like 4 iterations of battery like situations in the back of this boat for quoting, as soon as I came up with this idea, he said, "You're on the right track, man. This is what you need."
Yeah.
And he didn't even hesitate. But the charge, you can, and I don't know if the charge is like a 3 bank or a 4 bank. I want to say it's a 3, but I don't know. It doesn't matter because I'm only going to have 2 batteries in this thing.
Hmm.
But the Charge knows what type of battery it is, right? So it can sense that the type of battery, whether it's a lead acid, lithium, AGM, it knows what it is. So for charging purposes. What you can also do on the app, there's a Sea Monster app that tells you the battery percentage of all your batteries. So if you're in my case, we've got the AGM and 1 lithium. So it'll tell you on the app what the battery voltages are. And you can set a priority charge to one or the other if
Ooh.
something is low. So say I'm burning down and I have, I'm low on my trolling motor batteries, but my AGM is high because I don't really use my electronics too much. You can set a level that pushes amperage from that battery over to your trolling battery. So that's when your engine's not on, and vice versa, right? So that's phenomenal. And like you said, when you start the engine, it uses the alternator to charge whatever your priority is, or you can set which one you want to charge. So to me, if people are researching that they're never dropping down a 36 volt amp hour, 36 volt, 60 amp hour battery down, but now I have the added safety measure of if it is ever low, I can just turn the engine on and charge it from the engine. I'm perfect. And it was one of the cheaper options. And it actually was I mean, the weight was the same as 312s, so it was kind of negligible, but it's just
I
seems like it's an unbelievable product.
I've heard really good things. I actually talked to a couple of the pros this weekend that run the power pull charge, and they said that like when they go out and they practice sun up to sundown, you do a lot of idling and looking and scanning and stuff like that. They said the amount of time they spent on the trolling motor, maybe half the day, and the
Mm.
other half of the day driving around. When they came in to charge, it was at like 89 to 93% still.
Yeah,
So I mean, like at the end of the day, it's like a no-brainer. It's definitely worth it.
yeah. And the other thing too is it has a jump capability.
Yep.
So, and I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but if your AGM is dead, right? So say you're running your electronics all day, and something was going on, your AGM died, or your cranking battery died. You can redirect all leftover power into that one battery to jumpstart your engine.
Oh,
So if
nice.
it's just an extra safety measure. So this thing has got a lot of capabilities, and if it does go through that, I get this new rig, I'm gonna work the hell out of it and really check it out, because I think this is one of the most expensive and newest technologies that I will have on a boat.
Hmm.
Like I don't have live scope. I don't even have 360.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Before the Charge, it was a 3-in-1 active imaging cone on the Ghost was my latest technology, right? The Ghost and the cone.
Hmm.
So, I'm pretty excited about the possibility of just checking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. You're gonna
Yeah,
love it. I hope you get. I want to know what you're getting. I don't know if you're gonna tell me, but I want
I can
to know.
tell you. I can tell you. It's not a lot of people that listen to this, anyways. And I'm already holding it. So
Yep.
it's an Express H20.
Oh, awesome.
So it's I think you'd like this part of it. They took all the graphics off the hull,
Yep.
so it's just straight black,
Oh,
nothing
awesome.
on it. It's
Mine.
the C deck is. You may not like this, but it's a cappuccino color,
Yep.
so it'll get dirty. And I'm already thinking of ways to get rid of the C deck in the flooring, because I'd rather have a black flooring,
Yep.
like you said, because that's the part that gets the dirtiest. It's got a 175 on it. It's got a 10-inch hydraulic jack plate.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. You're gonna. Did you have a hydraulic on your last one?
nope.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I'm not going to know what to do with it.
Oh, you're gonna be impressed. I mean, you're already gonna be flying anyways in an express, but
Yeah,
that hydraulic. I mean, my last boat, I went to the hydraulic jack plate, and you could just get so much more out of it. And even when you're
yeah,
trying to get in backwater or out of backwater, or like you're in ugly areas, it's a peace of mind knowing that you can lift your motor way up and just
yeah.
keep it away from the because
True.
you know how
Again, it's
expensive that
it's
can get.
Yeah, it's gonna be experimentation though, because I've never done it. But I mean, again, my boat now, I mean, it's so light. It's way lighter than the Express is because the Express uses that thicker hull,
Yep.
that thicker aluminum, so it's a lot heavier. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of fun toys in there. Hot foot, there's a hot foot on it. I don't know how I'm gonna like the hot foot because I like kneeling, with the throttle, looking around when I'm idling. So
Oh,
that'd be
you're
a
gonna
weird
like it.
that'd be a weird one for me because I have to be sitting the whole time. Um,
Yep. You'll like it.
and
You'll be all right.
and I am hopefully going to be switching from Lowrance to Hummingbird now.
Nice.
So that's a big change because I've been a Lowrance guy for a while, but I'm getting the Quest. So I was told that's top of the line.
Yep.
Um,
That's what I'm hearing.
yeah. What do you
But
have on yours?
I have a Ghost on mine.
Yep.
I haven't had any problems. I love it. I got a new one now. I haven't had any issues at all, really. It's been really good to me. I've had three ghosts on my last three boats. So honestly, it's really just a preference thing. If you take care of your stuff, you're good. And for me, you get used to a foot pedal or the way you aim and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and for me, like when I say aim, obviously when the forward facing technology came out, it's very important how you look and aim and everything and
Yeah.
look around. So it's really just a comfort thing for me.
Yeah.
I-
And
I'm
I have a
I'm
Ghost
curious
too.
on one of those power pole moves though. I hear they're really light. I like to go fast, so any type of weight I can take off the front of the boat, that could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're all relatively like I don't think they're light enough that that you feel a difference. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Um,
Possibly. I'm going to say I feel a difference because I have friends that have all kinds of units up front. They got
yeah.
a 360 and we run the same boat and they can't do what I can do.
Really.
And it's just because when you put all that weight on the front of the bow, it's tough. And now that everyone's gone to all these lithiums, you've taken all the weight out of the back of the boat.
I
All the
know.
weight's on the front of the boat because everybody's got all this technology. And when you buy all
Hmm.
this technology for the front of the boat, you have to buy all these crazy mounts. Everything adds up. And then you don't realize that how much it. I mean, I try to think back to when we were all running carbureted motors and we could barely get on plane. You had to send your non-boater like go up sit on the front deck so we get on plane.
The
So I
heavy
mean,
set the heavy guy up front.
yeah, it matters. It matters a little bit. The boats, if you want to get the most out of your boat, you definitely need to get some weight in the back of it. And the way that all the technology is now with batteries, I think a lot of guys are trying to figure out why their boats don't go like they hear they should go and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's not important to everyone. But
But I also so the Express too, and again, I don't know this for a fact, but it's just from what I've seen. Um, they do sit pretty heavy in the back, anyways. So
hmm
whenever I see an Express out there, like like sitting idling before blast off,
hmm
the bows always kind of a little higher, especially with those X19s with the 200s.
hmm
They're pretty heavy in the back, and with this 175, I feel like if you put it's going to be negligible when I put the Quest up front or anything heavy up there, because again, I'm not doing 360. I don't have the extra transducers up there. I just have one 12-inch Solex.
Yep.
um so I don't know if I'd notice anything, just because
Yeah.
I've never had that stuff before.
Yep.
um but like you said, I've had a Ghost on my G3 and it's been awesome. I mean, that thing I can go 5 miles an hour on that thing. I have had a couple issues with it. um and I've read some things about some quality things that have pushed me to just try something different, even though I think
Yes.
the Ghost is great.
Yep.
But this is an opportunity to kind of link everything together. I know I wanted to go Hummingbird, so I'm not going to get a Ghost when I'm going Hummingbird. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's pretty much what everybody's doing now, anyways. You got the Garmin Force with all your Garmin stuff. You got the Minn Kota stuff with all your Hummingbird stuff. You got the Ghost stuff with all your. I don't know what PowerPole does. Even though I know they link to PowerPoles,
Yeah.
but
It's pretty
it's
interesting now. Everyone's kind of got their own niche. You got the companies that are coming out and they're easy waypoint management, and then you got the other companies that have the best forward facing technology, and then
mhm.
you got Hummingbird that has like the best mapping, they say. So it's like
Yeah.
it's really pick your poison and whatever makes you comfortable. I mean, I can't tell you how many pros I see that have a Lowrance, a Hummingbird, and a Garmin all on the console and up
Right.
front.
Right.
And it's
And
and it's
I
like
think
I wish I could do that, but
I know. Well, you see a lot of the with the Garmin because a lot of guys are going Garmin with the live scope, right? So
yeah.
and that's kind of its own standalone system because they don't
Mhm.
have to link to anything because it's just you're looking at one screen, the transducer's hanging off the trolling motor, anyways,
That's what I do. I don't have
right?
any. I don't use that screen for anything else. I mean, there's probably mapping in there that I could use, but I honestly just use it
Yeah.
for. I try to keep it very simple as I possibly can. I feel like if
Mm-hmm.
I add too much stuff, there's too much screens, too much stuff for me to look at. Like
Yep.
you're kind of from like you're just taking me away from the ability to catch fish at that point and trying to
Yeah.
figure out, and I don't want to sit there every week, calibrating everything and messing with everything. Like I just want to go fish.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I'm setting myself up to not go with live scope yet because I haven't even learned 360 yet.
Hmm.
So I want to learn that technology first. I think that's going to be more valuable to me around here, anyways, than live scope would be because I don't know. I just feel like I need to learn more about that deep water technique in 40 and 50 feet rather than 20 and 30. Right.
Hmm.
So, I'm kind of being sporadic about it. But, I, you mentioned something earlier about guys having for practice, they can have as many transducers as they want. But once day one comes along, you're only allowed two.
Hmm.
So do they have to have like quick connect um like connections to these transducers if they can't use them? Because
Well,
there's only a lockbox for the live scope, I thought.
no, the it doesn't go over the actual transducer, the lockbox. The lockbox actually goes over the cable connector that goes in the back of the unit.
Oh,
So they'll come around in the mornings or whatever, inspect everyone's boat, and put the actual lock boxes that they only have the key to over, let's say, something for you're familiar with, your 3-in-1 transducer. Let's just say that's something that can't be used or whatever.
yep.
They'll actually unplug it from your unit and put a lockbox over it so you can't plug it in or even use it.
Oh, so
And
it goes on the unit, not the connector.
it goes on the connector. How it connects to the back of the unit, it just goes on the connector. You disconnect it from the
Oh,
unit, and it goes over it, so you can't connect it into the unit anymore.
oh, so it's just flopping around.
Yeah, it's a high vis. It's like not chartreuse, but like a
It's like an orange type deal.
construction fluorescent orange. Yeah,
So
that,
it just,
that
but it just flops around on the deck, like it's
I
not
don't know. I mean, you probably have to zip tie it off so
secure
it's
it
not.
somewhere.
Yeah, so it's not hanging off the front of the boat, skimming the water. But yeah, and then so for us, they have they're going to put cameras on our boats,
Yep.
and so like everything, like so they don't want people cheating or whatever, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so they'll have a camera on your boat and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty hard. And they
Nice.
made those high visible so that way
Yeah.
people aren't messing around or whatnot.
Who holds the keys? Is it your
It's
marshal?
uh no, I don't have an actual. I don't think anyone has an actual marshal. It's just the Major League Fishing, the director, or whoever they hire to go around and do everyone's boats. So
Okay.
so it'd probably be like an inspection type thing before a date before the first day of the tournament, throughout the whole tournament, every morning before you launch. They'll probably have someone, before you drop the boat, and that inspects it and make sure you don't have dummy wires hanging out or this,
I
that, and the other
gotcha.
thing. Yeah.
Because it's different on the BPT because they get to choose which period they don't use it for. So
Yep.
do they even use the lock boxes in that?
Um, I actually saw a quick video that Wheeler was showing the lock boxes. So I would
Okay.
imagine if he's showing them, they must use them on their tour. He was
All right.
that's the place I saw them. They were like the orange covers that go right over the connector,
Yeah.
right
Okay.
over the plug.
Yeah. So the BPT has a marshal too because they're obviously measuring all fish.
Hmm.
Um, but the invitationals is a different format.
Yep. We don't have a marshal. We don't have a co-angler. I'm on the boat all by myself.
That sounds
Uh,
awesome, dude.
yeah, I don't have to deal with co-anglers. I don't have to worry about anyone netting my fish.
Yeah.
We're allowed nets, so I can net my own fish. Um, it's a regular format where it's a 5 fish format, just a
Yep.
regular fishing format. I bring my biggest 5 in for the day, and it's good. They give us all a Bubba scale that's owned by them that we take, and it's actually linked to their online thing. So every time we weigh a fish, they
Oh, for the
actually
tracker.
have like a tracker that, I guess some guys don't always weigh them, but that's how they'll track it there.
So, oh, so you don't have to do it, but people like to do it if you want. If people are following you,
I think
you
I
do it.
think we're told to do it, but I have talked to a couple of veterans that said that, oh well, I was down here and I was crushing it, and I just didn't weigh them because I was getting one after another, and I just didn't have time to weigh them all, so I didn't weigh them. And I was like, well, did they give you a hard time? And he's like, well, no, but
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I think they prefer that we do. So.
Okay. All right.
And then we do have, I guess there will be camera guys at each day of the event. So potentially, I could have a guy on my boat, or someone will, or there'll be like, 5 or 10 that'll be on boats out of the 150 or whatever the field is.
Gotcha. Now, I always wondered because you said they do have cameras that they outfit you with on
Hmm.
your boat, and I always wondered, is it obviously it's for in case they need to review anything on the water, right? That's one. But do they have the technology now where I could just say you're fishing an event and you've got that camera on? Can I just go right to the website, find you, and watch you all day?
I don't believe so. So to answer that, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'm sure they, if that does pop up, I would definitely let you know. But as far as I know, that's not the case. They're pretty much used for like, it's like a security camera.
Yeah.
Like if there's an argument or they're like, this guy was breaking rules, they'll take your camera, they'll check it. In years past, you had to supply your own camera and your own, you know, memory cards.
Yep.
So pretty much you'd have to buy 3 full-size memory cards, one for
Yep.
each day of an event, and you had to keep the all the video from the last tournament on that card until the next tournament comes. So if anything pops up or any issues pop up, you have to hand in your card and you review it or whatnot, and you
Yeah.
watch the video and stuff like that. But now, from what I've been told, I haven't seen them yet. They're going to put their own cameras on our boats instead of us and rather than us supplying them. And
Yeah.
I guess they got some new technology where they'll actually be solar powered
Really?
cameras where
Really?
they won't have to plug into my battery,
Interesting.
or I'm sure they have some type of little battery that helps with the solar. I mean, I don't know how that works on a cloudy day, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I love the fact that you don't have to worry about it,
yeah, that
right?
is nice.
That would be a pain in the ass. I think Bass does that. You have to have
Yep.
you have to supply your own cameras in case there's any questions.
Well, before I realized that they were doing the solar thing, I was like, I have a brand new, I got a brand new camera for the boat, and I was like, sweet, this will be great. I was gonna buy one of those YOLO sticks that go where the seat
Hmm.
post is,
Yep.
and I was
Yep.
gonna, and I was like, this will be good because then I can make my own content. So I
Yes.
I think I might try to still do that eventually here, but the fact that I don't have to worry about that as much and learn that technology while on tour and try to figure
Yeah.
out how to do all that, it'll be nice that it just takes a little bit off of what we have to worry about.
Yes.
At
That's
least for me.
that'd be nice.
Some guys are sure used to it, but like the more things you throw at me, I just leave me alone. I just want to go fishing.
No, I'm with you. Like the video stuff is tough. I have a tough time doing it during tournaments.
Yeah.
Fun fishing. It's easy because you're not really worried about anything else
Hmm.
except getting content. So, um, yeah, the camera stuff's it's a wild world out there for that shit.
Tournaments are high paced. It's hard to,
I know.
I don't even sit down and eat a sandwich. Like I see some guys that take like a lunch break and pull off into a cove and like hang out from like small club tournaments, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're just eating lunch, and I was like, I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, all right, me, I just like
Do you?
focus. Yeah, focus. Like I'll eat a snack when I'm driving. Like, oh, where's my
Correct.
snacks? Where's some jerky or something?
Yeah,
So
that's a normal person that does that in
yeah,
tournament fishing. All right, you're
yeah.
not normal if you're going to take a lunch at the friggin' dock.
Yeah. And then so if like you run your own cameras and you're doing your own content, like when you're just fun fishing, there's no time limit. There's no nothing to worry about. You just make the most of it and have fun. So
Right. Right. All right. Yeah, that's awesome. What event are you most excited about?
oh goodness. None of them. No, I'm very nervous. I won't lie. I'm very nervous. I'm gonna just put my head down and grind when I get there, but I mean, I'm excited about this first event. I'm nervous because I haven't done. I've been more of an offshore guy to a deeper water largemouth guy probably for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Just because everyone seems to beat the bank, so I've had to find my own fish. We'll say because
Yeah. Yeah.
I still have shallow stuff I love to do, but in the last few years I've kind of had to venture out and try to find my own thing.
Hmm.
So it'd be nice to go back up shallow and, throw a chatterbait and a rattle trap and just cover some water and have some fun. Wear my arm out a little bit and cast a
Yeah.
ton, rather
Are
than
you
just
are you nervous about television giving away any of your secrets?
no, not at all. I think some of my friends might hate this, but I think now that I've made it to this level, I think when this year's over, I'm probably going to do a little bit more content on what has been successful for me up here and
Good.
kind of maybe share it a little bit or just put some videos together. It's something I don't think everyone will pick up, any of the secrets or anything, but
Yeah.
there'll be definitely a lot of stuff that maybe some people don't do around here and stuff that could be definitely fun video. So
I like that. If you need a cameraman, you know who to call.
yeah, yeah. So on tour though, like I mean, you
Me, by the way, me.
yeah, I'll call
You
you.
call
Absolutely.
me.
We're going fun fishing. We're bringing our hockey sticks. We're gonna have a great time.
Exactly. So on that topic, you see these grips that they have, like the heat gun grips for hockey sticks now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Can we put that on a rod, on a corked rod,
yeah,
like that the handle? Like
yeah. Like a butt. I should.
yes,
Why not just do a tape one, like a giant goalie one on the end of your fishing rod, just to
with the
offset the
knob with the
weight?
knob.
Yeah, a giant goalie knob on the back of there. So like, yeah,
100%.
that'd be
We
funny.
will make your own
And, and yeah,
Levesque
I
and your number. Ugh,
what,
the shit writes
Edwin.
itself.
What Edwin Evers has those little foam things that go on the end of the rods. We're gonna have a big, yeah, yeah. We
Dude,
got our own.
those things that Edward uses are so ugly, but
Yeah,
they help. Like they sit
but
under here.
have you ever gone frog fishing all day and then you're like, man, now I know why he uses one of those? Because when you're
Correct.
trying to pull fish over the mat and you're hinging it on your ribs, you're like, at the end of the day, you're like, man, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good point. Good point. Um, but yeah, we need to figure that out too, because that'd be hilarious.
That would be pretty
See,
funny.
we're already writing a year's worth of content.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You know.
I do have some fishing sponsors that I didn't mention earlier.
Oh, hook it up. What do you got?
I got three sponsors, all together. Um, I got sponsored by Lose, Strike King, and Under Armour. So I'm
Very
super
nice.
happy to have them on board. It's not monetary yet. I'm kind of new, I'm a new guy, but I got in with those guys and I've already been using their stuff for a while. So this is like no brainer for me. Like I'm very happy about it.
What are the terms of those deals? I'd be curious to know.
Like terms as in like benefits for me or whatnot.
Like, what do you have to do? Like, do you have to use Strike King lose reels all the time?
I think for our first year, anyone getting sponsored, maybe the first year, I believe, they understand that like, hey, you already have a lot of fishing equipment. You're not going to be able to outfit all your fishing equipment with our stuff right away because,
Right.
as a first timer, they're not going to give you a ton just to make it happen. So,
Hmm.
I think you really just got to push a lot of their new products, try to be social media friendly, and then maybe do a couple videos here and there showing, using their products, stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
which isn't hard for me because I have a lot of their stuff anyway. So
Yeah.
it was a no brainer. And now that I am on board with them, I'm definitely going to get a bunch of good new stuff because their new technology and their new reels is unbelievable.
Yeah.
They've got a new, not a centrifugal brake, but almost like an inertia brake system that just came out.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I just demoed it this last weekend and I couldn't even backlash. And I was like, if you're a rookie and you want to get a bait caster, spend the money and get one of these because oh my God, they are awesome. I can't wait.
No, John. No. If you're a rookie, buy your $60 and put your work in,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
go get the good ones once you win a
I
tournament or
know.
two.
I know. I just see my poor friends that come out fishing with me and they're like, man, I got a bait caster. And I'm like, you know how to use that thing now? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll be good. And then I'm like, are you sure? Oh yeah, first cast. and
Done. Yeah.
then they put it away, and I never see it again for like the
Yeah.
whole year. So
Well, what's the cost on the new ones? That's got to be
the
350.
well, the new ones,
Inertia brakes. Yeah.
the new inertia brakes. So there's one, the top model. There's a top model that's really expensive, but then there's a model that's really good that's right around 270,
Yeah.
and then there's one with the same technology that's for like 170. So honestly, I've always told people that are getting, even my friends that are like, I've taken them fishing. They're like, I want to start doing tournaments. Like, what rod or reel should I get? And I always try to angle guys to like spend a couple $100. Get the one that's a couple $100. Don't You can get the $130 one if you want. I just promise you, in a year, you're not going to be using that one anymore because it's just
Yeah. You'd be surprised. What do you think I use?
you use the cheaper ones. What are you using?
You guess. What would you
I have
think that
no
I'm using?
idea. I don't know. What are you using?
I don't pay more than $60 to $80 a rod.
Yep.
Same with a reel.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm a 13 fishing reel guy.
Yep.
I found those and they're very cheap, but they're very, very good and comfortable. And they have all different ratios. And I'm like
Oh,
an
good.
8-to-1 kind of guy.
Yep.
I like a faster reel because I can slow down easier than I can speed up, especially at my old age with my shoulders.
Same way. Yep.
So I'm always sevens or eights. But and I always find the deals, right? They're probably $100, but I always get them for like 80, 85, all the reels.
Absolutely.
And that's all I need. You know,
Well,
if I was using them more.
you do know
What's
how
that?
to cast them though, compared to my friends that are just starting out. At
Yeah,
least you know how to
yes.
cast them.
Correct. They're not like a just pick up and go kind of reel. You have to know
Yeah.
how to do a baitcaster,
Yep.
but they're definitely the cheapest. And I only use mono too. So some guys have talked to me and like, dude, you don't use fluoro at all. And I'm like, no, I've been using mono my whole life. I don't need anything else. I am a very simple fisherman,
That's great.
but the last few years I've sucked. So maybe I got to change something.
Yeah, I mean, I throw basically just fluoro. I throw braid to a liter of fluoro on all my spinning rods, and that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, yes, on the spinning rods, the braid is a must.
Mhm.
And for the people out there, you do your due diligence and experiment with different braids on your spinning reels.
Yeah,
I've had some nightmarish braids, and I couldn't even tell you what they were, but I don't even know what I use now because I literally only have two spinning rods.
I will say mono is very forgiving. The fact that you're running mono on a baitcaster, it's very forgiving.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Yeah.
I mean I stretch it out all the time. The fluoro, I did start using fluoro on the spinners, right? Because
Mhm.
you want a little more sensitivity with the fluoro,
Mhm.
a little less visibility in the water too. So, other than that, the mono is fine with me, and I'm never going more than 17-pound test on mono. Like I'm very, very simple,
Yep.
just because I don't want to spend the money. Fluoro is expensive.
I put mono on my top water, so I get you.
Well, mono doesn't sink.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of top water fishing, John.
Yeah, that's fine. Some guys use fluoro for their top water too. I don't know how they do it, but they do.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
They
But
must have the rod like way up here or something. I don't know what they're doing.
who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's all I do. And Bass Pro Shop Rod Specials, man. That's what I do.
That's
Very
awesome.
easy. Very easy. Because then I don't have a garage. I everything's out in the elements. I know if I bought something very expensive, I wouldn't be able to take care of it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get cheap stuff, take care of as much as I can. If it breaks, I'll just buy another one.
Yeah, I don't have a garage big enough to fit my boat in it, so I understand.
No, not anymore.
No, I mean I have garages, I've got storage spaces, but none of them are big enough to fit my boat.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you looking for one that might?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously I'd love to. I'd love to buy a house and do the whole deal, but I'm a very poor man this year, having to come up with a bunch of money. So
Well,
I got
I tell you what you do is in that first event, you go fucking win the thing, okay,
yeah,
and then talk to one of your construction company sponsors and build yourself a nice man cave.
that's right. That's right.
That's the dream right there.
Yeah, it is. I know. I see all these other guys doing it and posting about it. I'm like, I'm just drooling over there. So In time, I'll be fishing for a while, so it'll happen.
Yeah, yeah, you will. It will. It will. What would you do in a man cave?
What would I do in a
Yeah,
fishing, garage man cave?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. TV, couch, refrigerator, shelving to put all your stuff. I've seen a lot of cool things where guys have like you pull the boat in and all your spare rods will go up on the roof. So
yeah.
right from inside your boat, you can just put them right on the holders in the ceiling and then like just grab what you need for whatever event. And then even have like your, spooling for spooling reels up high and you can spool them
Mhm.
from there. So I've seen a lot of cool stuff. I mean, up here obviously we need the heat and all that
Yeah.
stuff but oh
I mean,
man,
you gotta put a jumbotron in there.
yeah, Jumbotron.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious. That'd
Yep.
be that'd be good. I would. Hey, if there's enough room to put a whole Mantown couch and everything, like I'd rather. I'd be hey, listen. I've always I've always said that I would build a garage up north and have like just one little bedroom upstairs and just have the garage with the boat and everything else, and I could live like that. I would be totally fine.
Me too.
I don't need all this fancy bathrooms or whatever. Just a little shower, a little bedroom, and like a giant garage, and I'm good. I could live with
Yeah,
that.
100%. I could
Yeah,
too, but it's not gonna happen because
yeah,
I'm married,
yeah.
and wives don't like that.
No, I completely. I'm not married, so I don't have any excuses. I should do it. That's why I'm doing this tour because I'm not married and I should.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
On the winnings, did they jump to 150 for the invitationals? Or are they still 100?
they're right around 100.
They're 100 because the BP tour is now 150 for winnings. So I didn't know if
Yeah,
it changed for the
so
invitationals.
it's right around 100, and it depends if you're in the what bonus bucks programs you're in. So
Oh yeah.
if you're in the Phoenix bonus buck program and you win, I mean, I think it's another 20 or $30,000.
Yep.
So I mean, there's an Atlas program. There's like all the other boats. For Bass Cat, I have the Quest. That's the Quest. It's called the Quest Money program or whatever
Okay.
through them. So like every brand tends to have a thing, and like as long I've been told, make sure you sign up for everything because if
Yes.
you do, it's going to be another huge chunk of money. So
Yep. And it's usually free to sign up, anyways. Right.
yeah, yep,
Oh man, should be fun though, dude. Should be
yeah,
fun. How you doing with like lodgings and stuff? So again, as part of these last 3 months, he's had to do all the sponsorship stuff, work full time. He's got to, come up with all this money and then do all the logistics planning for traveling around the country for 6 to 7 months.
yeah.
Just for everybody who's listening.
Yeah, it's kind of a curveball. I learned a little while ago that you have to network, and no matter what level of fishing you get to, you can try to go at it your own, but you're just being stubborn. You
Yeah.
need to network with people. I've made friends with a guy from Maine and a guy from Texas, so I'm going to travel with those guys, and I'm going as cheap as I can. I'm going to be tenting it up or sleeping out of the back of the truck, and I'm just going to do campsites with plugins and everything, and I'm just going to be camping it. And I wanted to be around people. That was for me. Like
Yeah.
I could do a hotel, but I'd be on my own, and I wanted to be around other fishermen. So like
Yeah.
if things gets tough, you got to work with other people. I mean, it even works for me for the Nationals, traveling with the guys from Maine and
Mhm.
everything. Like I would have never wanted it if I didn't network with those guys because
There you go.
they gave me info that helped me on the last day that we worked together through the whole thing. So he definitely at this level, you'll notice a lot of these guys. Even at the top, you'll see Wheeler and Connell. All those
Oh
guys
yeah.
are
Oh
working
yeah.
together. Like you need to. It's very important. But
Hmm.
just like it is around here, you got to kind of gain everybody's respect first before you get the guys that are willing to work with you there too.
Absolutely. Um, what truck do you have?
I have a Silverado right now
Are
with
you gonna
very high.
outfit with like a cap on the back?
So I have a cap on the back, but I have a shorter bed, so I'm not going to do the whole bed in the back yet. I have very high miles on mine, so I'm going to probably it might go for a few events, and then I'm going to get another truck. And
Nice.
when I do, I'll get something with a 6.5 foot bed where I'll put a bed back there. I'll put a little flat screen TV, a
Yeah.
microwave, a little AC unit, a heater, like just everything I can do on the road I
Yeah.
get a generator if I need to for stopping on the road anywhere along the way.
Yeah.
I saw a couple guys from the elites that I fished against, and I went over and looked at their trucks, and they showed me like how they have it set up and everything, and like even the guys at the very top are that's what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
it's not a glamorous sport, but it's definitely a little bit of hard work and everything. It goes a long way. So
Yeah. It
any
depends on what your definition of glamorous is,
yeah, well, some
right?
of the guys have their families driving around with their Winnebagos, and one
Okay.
guy's got his wife's driving the Winnebago while he's pulling the boat, and like that's great and everything. But realistically, for like us or anyone that's getting into it, it's try to keep it as cheap as possible, and just
Yeah.
I'm all about just the campsites and whatever I can do to just make it easier for me,
Yeah.
and it'd be nice. It'd be easy to just pick up and go when I'm ready. That's why I kind of want to get the truck cap thing together. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm going to be tenting it up, which sucks because when I finish an event, I'm
You
gonna
got
have
to
to
set
go.
it up.
I got to go
Yeah.
break it down. So that's 3 hours that I could have been on the road coming home. So
Yep.
I'll be excited to set up a truck and get that all going and everything.
Well, they have these things on the top. Like, don't they have almost stowaway pop up tents for tops of trucks, right? That kind of pop up and come over your bed, right?
Yeah, they have truck toppers and stuff. Those are
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Those are kind of well, there's some pretty cool ones out there, and even the camper caps for the back of trucks. I've looked at a bunch of those and everything, but
Yes.
you need the right truck to have one of those because they weigh a lot and you got a tow, and
Gotcha.
they're not very aerodynamic, so you're going to burn a lot of gas. But those
Yes.
truck toppers that are like tents on top of truck, those are pretty interesting. There's some really nice ones out there. I haven't seen them in person, but believe me, I've spent a lot of time looking them up and everything, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, there's some really cool stuff. So that's a possibility as well. But I think for me, I want to be able to when I'm traveling across country, I'm by myself. So when I go 10 hours and I'm like, man, I need to sleep, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to open the back and jump in and pass out and call it a day.
True.
I mean,
Yep.
right now I have a full back seat in my truck. So I actually bought one of those things that makes the whole back seat flat,
Oh, yes.
and I got
Yes.
all kinds of cushions back. I take all the blankets off my bed at home, and I make that thing like unbelievable. And I put 100
Yes.
pillows back there, and I just lounge. So that gets me by for the road. But it's a little scrunchy doing that all week.
True. True.
Yeah,
That does sound awesome, though.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's almost like an L shape, right? An L
So
shaped
there,
cushion where it gets the floorboards, but it plops you right up on level.
so I found one that's actually that they have those, but I actually found one that hangs off your headrests and it hangs
Oh,
down and it's a flat thing. So all under there, you can put storage underneath on the floor.
there you
And
go.
it just makes the whole thing flat. And they're actually cushioned, so it's like a little bit of everything. So it's good, and it makes it a flat surface. Most of the times your seats are so angled,
Yeah.
like to try to sleep flat. This actually makes the whole back seat flat, which is good. But
Nice.
they do have those blow up ones where they'll take up the foot space and all that, and like build it up like a big cushion. But
Yeah.
I needed as much room to put stuff as I can because I'm an overpacker.
Yep. Yep.
I definitely bring more shit than I ever need every time I go.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you gonna do for laundry?
Laundry. So all the campsites have their own laundry and everything.
Oh,
So
all right. I guess
the
I didn't
last
think of
couple
that.
what's that?
I guess I didn't think of that
Yeah.
part of camping. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've looked up a lot of campsites traveling around the lakes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll make sure I like go on there, look at the reviews and everything, and then they'll
Mhm.
actually show maps of it, and they'll be like, oh, laundry, bathrooms, everything, and I'm like, oh, this place has it all.
There you
I
go.
mean, the funniest story I have is like I was looking up campsites, and I was like, what's this one? This one looks interesting, and then it said clothing optional, and I was like, maybe I won't go to that one.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe, I know what that site is. That's not the one I'm looking for. Wouldn't have to worry about laundry there.
Yeah, just get a campsite close by, and that's like the what is it? Couples retreat where they have the Eden East
Yeah.
versus West.
Yeah, yeah. That the social media videos footage of me rigging up my boat might not look that great at that one. That's for a different website.
uh
That's for
Only fish. That's for
the
only
only
fish,
fish
right?
website. Yeah.
Have you seen there's a video of Randy Howell. I think it's Randy Howell way back in the day. And he was trying to promote this massive traveling rig. Have you seen this?
No, no, I'm
It was
curious
it
though.
was it was back when like bass fishing was getting it was huge, right?
Hmm.
Especially at the pro level. It's almost uh, the way I can describe it. It's a semi truck where the back is outfitted so you can put the bass boat on the bottom and the truck on the top. So he's driving around a semi, but then when he parks the semi, he's got, mechanical mechanisms to pull the pickup truck down and the boat out so he can tow his boat when he needs it.
Oh wow, that's
And he
interesting.
was trying to promote that a long time ago, but it just never went anywhere.
Yeah, that's a in this industry, there's not a lot of money, so like people.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people willing to, on this tour, there are some guys that are very self-sufficient, have their own businesses, and do very well. And they're almost, I don't want to say they're retired, but they've done so well that they've taken on getting on tour and just
Yeah.
have all the nicest of everything. But there's some
Yep.
pretty awesome ones out there. I've seen those Mercedes, ones that have the whole bed and all the back and everything, like the
Yeah.
Explorer Mercedes ones. Those are pretty nice. And then there's those F450s Fords ones they have that are just giant. They have a
Oh
giant
yeah.
back seat, and they're like, I'd love to be able to go crazy and do one of those, but
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
But they've got so many avenues of revenue, so many income streams. I know who you're talking about. It's a lot of the big name
yeah,
guys that made a name for themselves in other ways, not just professional fishing. Right?
yeah.
They do.
I saw Skeet Reese's truck the other day, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's not. It's a monster truck towing his boat
Yes.
around. It's not even a truck. Like it looks like a Mack truck. I'm like, what in the world? Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Who else?
that's
Zaldane's got a big thing, but I don't know. He's not in invitationals, but obviously the Scott Martins of the world. He can do whatever he wants. Um,
yeah,
yeah, there's some cool rigs, definitely. I'd be curious to see what kind of spread you get on the invitationals.
yeah. It should be interesting. It's going to be a
Yeah,
fun year. I'm excited.
yeah. And you take off when?
I take off the 15th of February, so
15th.
just under 2 weeks.
And you said you're getting your boat wrapped this week or next week?
It's getting wrapped right now. I dropped it
Right
off
now.
today. Yeah.
Nice. Who you
Yeah.
using for wrap?
Um, oh goodness, I gotta make sure I get his name right. What a jerk. I'll have to get back to you on his company, but he's right next to Steve's Bass Fishing Electronics. He's like
Okay.
is in the same development. And I'm just doing a satin black wrap, just something trying to keep it cheap. I'm just going to do a satin black wrap, and I got all my logos from all my sponsors done in white. So it'll just be a white
Nice.
and black. So should be pretty sharp.
Very nice. Very nice.
A lot of the guys have these crazy camo schemes and all this stuff going on, and my first year going in, I don't, I got to be careful where I put my money, so I'm trying to be smart about it.
Sure.
But
Agree.
they say that we have to wrap boat and have the MLF's logos and have my name and have my company's logos, so it'll be key. It'll be really good.
Nice. And
Kind of an adjustment for me coming from New Hampshire. I've always like, look at that guy with all the logos and wrapping on them. What's he doing? Like, and now I'm that guy.
you're that guy.
Now I'm that
100%.
guy. So funny.
And where's the first event?
First event is Kissimmee Chain Lakes.
Florida, right?
Yep.
Very nice. How we going to approach that
Um,
body of water? What are you thinking?
well, it's been cold down there,
Yeah.
so it's been a little bit of a transition for the fish. By the time we get down there, I've been looking at the forecast. It's supposed to warm up. We'll probably be in the 80s during the day, so I would imagine a lot of those fish are going to be either moving up to spawn or they'll already be spawning. Then maybe there'll be some post ones coming out. It's going to be a shallow bite. I really feel like. I mean, unless we get a
Yeah.
real big cold front and it moves them out, I think it's going to be a flipping, punching chatterbait, moving bait, just finding good areas. I mean, there's a lot of different types of weeds there that I'm not even familiar with. I think they've
Mm-hmm.
got like 5 or 6 different types of weeds that
Yeah.
we don't have up here in New Hampshire. So I'll have to get down there and break that apart. And then, they have shell beds and stuff like that. So looking for hard bottom and different types of weeds, really.
And it's funny you mentioned, if there's a cold front, they might go out deep, but like deep down there is not deep.
It's like
It's still not
eight to
deep.
10 feet.
Yeah, it's not as deep as it is up here, right?
Yeah.
They'll go to that next level.
It-
But the majority of those places are really shallow and just grass fed. So fish like don't go down.
yeah. Yeah.
But
This place is a little more depth than like Okeechobee, but
yeah, yeah,
not much. Not much. Not it's not similar to what we fish up here at all. That's
correct.
why I'm excited yet nervous because, I'm sure every one of these guys has got a lot more familiarity with what's going on down there. So I'm gonna try some things. I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve, and if it works in practice, I could be pretty fun, but we'll see.
How heavy are your punching weights?
Oh goodness, I have them all. I got 2.5 ounce punching
Mm-hmm.
weights. I don't know that things are matted up that much yet, so
Right.
it'll probably be a little bit more finessed style when I get down there.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I might even just drag Senkos around. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah,
Zero to hero bait, man. That'd be
if I
great.
have to, I mean, I don't love doing it, but if I have to, I'll do it. I mean, whatever
True.
it takes.
Um,
Like you. I like to have fast reels. I like to fish fast. My trolling motor's set to 8 to 10 all the time, so
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to slow it down and figure things out.
Yeah, especially, and you've had experience fishing those tournaments that have a lot of boats,
Mhm.
right? Um, will it impact you a little more down in the Kissimmee chain, or is it pretty spread out?
Um, I have never been there before, but I have fished Harris Chain with like 250 boats before a couple times, and it gets pretty spread out. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised. I mean, you want to give everyone their space and their respect, but I mean,
right.
there is some spots that are pretty much community holes where like I could probably cast right onto the next guy if I wanted to.
Yep, yep.
So it should be
What?
interesting. I'm not out to piss anyone off, but I definitely want to you know, I'll definitely be looking around.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know they're having that issue on Okeechobee down there where um, a lot of the fish are getting, I guess, congregated in specific areas. Right? Did you
Hmm.
see that last year? I think they're bringing the water level too high, so that now there's the plant life is going away. Like the sunlight's not penetrating to the bottom anymore, so a lot of those
Oh yeah.
grass areas are not going anywhere. There's no grass anymore, so it's pushing the fish to different areas and it's congesting them in specific areas. Scott Martin talks about it all the time.
I saw that. Yep.
And he was saying the last that event that he won, that open, I mean, everybody was in the same area because that's where the fish were. Um, I don't think they have the same issue on the Kissimmee because they're not connected. But it's for you. For you, I love the fact that you're going to fish different lakes. I mean, we fish the same shit all the time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's not a lot up here. Um, I'd love to fish some of these bigger bodies of water. The biggest body of water outside of New England that I've fished is Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia.
Hmm.
And again, that's not even a lake; it's a river system. So,
Hmm.
but it's massive, and it was one of the most fun events me and my brother ever did. Just because we were hanging out, drinking, and fishing for 3 days. But when I think about what you're going off to do, it's an adventure, and it's going to figure out different bodies of water that you've not had a chance to get out there and do. And if you do figure it out, it's an added bonus, and it's like I did this myself, and I figured this out. It's justification that you belong in the sport.
Yeah. I mean, I have traveled around to a bunch of places. I mean, Lake of the Ozarks, all these other places, and I've done well. And it's been interesting too, because like a lot of the things that we do up here, you have to do a lot of different things out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, in the Nationals, I, I was throwing an A rig, and I, we don't really throw A rigs up here very often. So, I mean,
Right.
I always end up doing a lot of things that are out of my comfort zone, but like you pick it up quick, and it's good. For myself, I like to consider myself not a specialty in everything. I want to be a little good at everything. So
Yeah.
I'm a trash fisherman. If you look at the front of my boat, even locally, there's
Yeah.
probably 20 rods on my front deck. So
Mm-hmm.
no one knows what I'm doing, and neither do I. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to figure it out. That's for sure. So I'm
Yep.
hoping I can. I'm hoping that I can carry that around because you see, there's a lot of guys that are stubborn and they have their technique that works for them, and you definitely want to fish to your strength, but I mean, you can't fish one way at Kissimmee and then go to Lake Hartwell and fish the same way because it's just two different monsters. So you're gonna have to,
True.
you got to be well rounded. I feel like, and and
Yeah.
and for us from the Northeast, I feel like we are really well rounded fishermen. I think that's why we've done like a lot of guys are starting to make a name for themselves because. I mean, we fish seasons up here, and we all use all different types of baits, and we
Mhm.
have you got to throw jerk baits, crank baits, rattle traps, everything. We throw everything down south.
Yeah.
The guys have four crankbaits on their deck, and
Right.
then maybe a finesse thing, and that's it. So I mean, it'll be good, and hopefully that I can get to do a little bit of everything and get to learn a little bit about these lakes, and hopefully it all goes well. Really,
Yeah. I mean, they rarely have water temps below 50
yeah,
down there. You know what I mean? So their season goes from 50-degree water up to maybe even 80 or 90, and stays there a lot longer the time. Like we have so much more dramatic temperature changes that we have to figure out and adjust to than they do down south.
absolutely,
But
yeah. It's
wow, what was I just gonna say? Oh yeah, so explain the information rule for the invitationals, because we had talked about this offline a little bit, but I forget what it was. So I know that kind of stuff. The information has been a talking point for the last couple of years for professional fishing,
mhm.
more on the bass side than MLF side. But explain what the information rule is for the invitationals.
So the information rule for us, it's usually about a month cutoff. It's give or take a week or two, but we have a schedule and we have actual dates that we can receive information up till for each event. So it like Lake Hartwell is our second event. I can only take information up till the 8th of February. So I have a short window here to gain information from Hartwell. I've been there a couple times. I know people down there, so I'm not superly worried about that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about it really. I can work with the pros that I'm fishing with or against. Like we can talk, we can get information, any type of public knowledge that's out there via the internet, YouTube, anything. That's fair game. But I can't go and seek information from somebody down there or anything between that cutoff window. It's really just a no go for there. And they do a lie detector test and everything. Let's say I go down there and win, and they're like, "Well, how did you win this?" I might get the lie detector test, so it's important. You can't really take that chance. It's a risk.
Yeah.
And once you're committed to the season, like you're committed to pay all for all the events. So even if you get kicked out, that's a tough bullet to bite. So you don't want to take any chances there.
Yeah, and the caveat to that rule too is if it's a month out, if you're passing a lake that is on the schedule for later in the season on your way to another tournament that you haven't had, a
Mhm.
lot of experience on, you can stop and fish that and learn a little bit before heading out to the next one. You have that opportunity to at least get on there if it's within or over a month before the event.
Yeah, that I kind of hurt myself there. That's a very important thing. I wish I could utilize that, but because this was such a last second put together, and I'm going to keep my business going. I'm kind of finishing up an event, and I'm heading straight home to get back to work 10 or 12 hours a day, so that way I can afford to get myself back on the road for the next one. So it's a little bit of a challenge. I think if I get into it next year, I'll try to plan that better and maybe extend it where I have a couple more days that I can stop somewhere in the way back and just get familiar places. I mean, I've only fished three of the lakes on the six lakes of our tour, so that could be good or bad. I don't know. But yeah, like what you said. That's definitely key. That's a good thing. And
Yeah.
I think the elites can do that a little, but I think their dates might be a little further out than ours. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, I don't know about that. I haven't really
Yeah.
dove into that a little bit. Which one are you coming home after?
What do you mean? Which one?
Which event are you coming home
Everyone.
right after? You
Everyone.
are, huh?
Oh yeah, jumping right on the road and coming home. So if obviously I think the top 50 make the third day. If
Yeah,
if if I'm not in the top 50, I'm hitting the road and I'm coming right home. And if I make the third day, I'm cashing a check. So that's
true.
good. That's good. So I'll be a day late coming home, but at least I'll come home with a check. So hopefully,
Are Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a lot of driving. Are you going to try to find a place to stow your boat?
um, yes, yes and no, depending upon where the events are. I mean, as they move up the country, I'm not going to worry about that as much, but
True.
I do know someone that lives at our second location, so I think after our first event, if I have time, to, it's unfortunately for me, I have builders that I have to keep happy, and I have a
Yeah,
schedule I have to meet. So I'm a little bit in a tough spot where it might be a disadvantage for me to like drive 6 hours out of the way to go drop a boat off and add 12 hours onto my trip to drop it off
yeah.
somewhere. So I got to kind of be smart about that. But at the end of the day, if you don't like to drive, then you're in the wrong sport because there's a lot
That's
of
true.
drive. There's a lot of driving in this sport, and you know what? I don't mind driving. I've made so many trips across country with friends, by myself, everything, towing boats that I mean, I you know how it is. You tow a boat so much that sometimes when you're driving without it back there, you're still taking wide turns and everything because you think it's back there. So
Yeah. I mean, I every tournament I do is at least an hour and a half.
yeah,
Because I live in Woburn. I live right outside of Boston. So, I'm going to New Hampshire to fish most of my stuff. I'm Hampshire and Maine, and it's
yep,
always at least an hour and a half. Some smaller lakes, maybe an hour, but yeah, we put miles on it, man.
yeah. I
But
love driving. I mean, I always said to myself, "Hey, I could be a Mack truck driver and drive around the country.
yeah,
I'd be okay with that. I love being on the road. It's good. It's expensive, but I don't mind it. It's not the most healthy thing in the world because you eat a lot of junk food, but
oh my god, it's terrible. I
yeah,
can't go to a gas station without buying a ton of shit.
yeah.
It's
And
bad.
just to stay awake, you're like, yeah, I'll get some Reese's Pieces or something like that, even though you
Yeah.
don't really might not eat them all the time. But when you're on the road and you stay awake, you got to do what you got to do.
Yep, yep. Are you doing any? Are you still looking for sponsors?
I'm still looking for sponsors. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm doing my boat wrap so that way I can add. I'm putting logos on the boat. I'm not doing a whole built boat wrap with everything already built into it. I'm just doing a flat black wrap where I can just add sponsors as we go if people want to jump on and get on board with me. So
very nice.
the option's always there, and it'd be awesome to get anyone. And I'm still working with some people, and there's going to be some adding along the way. So.
All right, well, let's talk about how they get in contact with you. So I know we've done some branding, some new branding already. So
Mhm.
let's talk about how to find you.
Well, you can find me on Facebook on Johnny Levesque Fishing. Um, Slowly getting the Instagram going. I'd have to look and see what my name is on there. I think it's under my email or something, but I have to check on there. But yeah, see, I'm totally new with this, trying to get it all going. I've been working more on the Facebook and then trying to share stuff to the other accounts as well. So
Yep,
so
yep.
that's the best way to reach me, or you can reach me through Levesque81 at yahoo.com if you want to email me, or you could just shoot me an instant message. Talk. I'd love to. I'm someone that loves to talk. I love making friends and helping out every way I can. I mean, as a someone looking for sponsors, I offer a lot of good opportunities to take customers or clients out, or even help promote a company. Maybe some positive Google reviews for your company, or you know anything that's creative that could help. Even just kind of do a video testimonial about your business and what's going on,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So, some companies I work with have company outings where I'll bring the boat. We'll take guys out and family and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun. And
Very
then
nice.
a lot of like when it comes to getting sponsors for fishing, there's not a lot of monetary value in actual uh, companies in the fishing industry. Like you'll get discounts from those kind of companies, but you have to be Kevin Van Dam or Mike Iaconelli to actually get paid from them.
Right.
So for us, more entry wise, you need to really tap into the local, businesses and stuff and help promote them the best you can. So that's really important. And a lot of local business, they're all family owned. So it's nice to get in with a good group of people and help promote their business. And already with my guys already and everyone I have on board, it's been really rewarding all around.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point because you are a New Hampshire local, right? So the eyes that are going to be on you are going to be very local and in this region, anyways, right?
Mhm.
So the sponsors that are going to be helping you out are in this region, so it just helps that that's going to be their clientele, anyways. So that's
Right.
a very smart approach to it. Um, it seems simple enough, but some guys do overlook that and they go right for the big players. And you know, I love helping family owned smaller businesses way more than I do the big guys, because it they need a lot more help to keep going, and they actually probably do a lot better work than some of the bigger companies. So I've said that a lot, over the years that I've done aluminum fishing, because a lot of the times I'm partnering with smaller brands. I mean, this year Power Pole is not really a small brand, but they're giving me something for it.
Hmm.
um but I really love promoting those smaller companies, just because the quality is usually better. They're a lot more genuine, um and they're willing to help you too. So
Yeah, I mean it's nice having the big companies, but I, I I've come from an older style, older way of thinking that like you kind of have to earn your way up. So
yeah,
like I don't expect like a big company to just jump on board with me right now and give me $10,000 to $20,000. Like I'd be crazy to ask for that. So, if I go win a couple events and make a name for myself, those people will come. Those people will come. That stuff will happen. So I think for anyone, concentrate on the fishing. Get the smaller family businesses, stuff like that,
yeah,
and work your way up. And if you're successful, those bigger brands will come, and I feel like that's the way you should do it, really, at least on the competition level. If I get into social media and stuff like that, and I have like a real large following, kind of like what you're starting to get going or what you got going, like PowerPole, those companies come, so it's important to build your brand, and anyone that's starting out locally or stuff like that, or has ambitions to get to the next level, like you really just got to work your way up and make it happen, and make a name for yourself. You just put the time in, and try to win, because
yeah,
people want to
yeah,
see people want to see people win.
yeah, yeah. It's fun to watch that, especially someone you know. You
Yeah,
know, but the powerful thing was different. It was odd for me, because I shoot my shot with some of the bigger guys, just to say,
yeah.
because I've got kind of a niche area, right, where where the only aluminum boat trail.
Hmm.
We had a bunch of divisions at one point, but this one was odd because I had gone to just opens, and I wasn't doing a lot of them, but I was doing one on Chickamauga, and it was a 2 day. I had something to bring to the table that PowerPole wanted as far as data for aluminum rigs, right?
Hmm.
And that was where I shot my shot. I
Hmm.
was like, I can get you information about all these tin rigs and what kind of electronics, trolling motors, and shallow water anchors they're running to help you with some data research. And that seemed to work because in our contract, for last year anyways, it was, I'm going to provide all this information from all the registrations throughout the year, from all my opens, in exchange for nothing monetary in my own pocket, but I was able to give away kind of swag bag drawstring bags that were power pole bags, with
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
with a bunch of products, to most teams that fish the open. So it incentivized, and it made kind of the event a lot of fun. Ben's Tackle Shack helped me out a lot with product to put in these things. So shout out to them. They're another one of my trail sponsors. Um, and then this year was odd because I had really nothing to give them, but they had, this is odd because they had actually owed me one piece of the contract late in the year last year. So I reached out, um, and the person that I was working with no longer worked there. So I went to like the head of marketing, and had a conversation with him. He reviewed the contract and said, "Yep, that you're right. We do owe you that. We'll get you this. We'll get this done." And while I had him, I was like, "So hey, what are we doing for 2025? You still looking for partnerships? Blah blah." And I sent him a note to say, we've got this podcast, we've got my YouTube content coming out that I haven't really released yet. Um, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I can promote the charge because I want to promote the charge. So I'm giving you a couple options as far as what you could provide us, and versus what I can provide you. And they came back and said, okay, we'll donate a charge for you. So I'm giving away a power pole charge at my Winnipesaukee Open this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
that prompted the whole conversation earlier about, you know, okay, I'm going to get a powerful charge for my boat. So, reached out and said, just in case. And they could have said no. And I've been like, all right, that's fine. You're already doing enough, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I reached out and they said, we'd love to help the partners. Yeah. We'll give you 30% off and um, just make sure you're promoting it. And I was like, because I went in it to say, if I'm giving this away, I'd love to be able to run it, to know what it does, and to give an honest review on this and to show people how it works, stuff like that. And they jumped right all over it,
That's
But
awesome.
again, like you said, it's not nothing monetary in my pocket. You
Right.
know what I mean? But I'm helping, I'm promoting, and in a way, they're kind of giving my open a little bit more visibility with their brand, right? So they're helping, a little bit more on that end as visibility. So it's odd. It's a weird world,
It
and
is.
I haven't been able to get any monetary sponsorships yet. Everything I do for sponsorships, I try to do to give back to the anglers that fish the trail.
Yep.
So yeah, it's an odd one, and
That's a good one though. I mean honestly, I did the fishing expo down in Massachusetts recently,
mhm,
and it was like a almost like a networking deal for me because there's all kinds of different lithium companies there and
mhm.
stuff like that. And I mean, I was able to network, and I don't want to say any names because I might work some things out with them, but like I've got a bunch of cards now, and it's really it's probably tough to realize when you get into fishing that you need to be a really good salesman, and
Yeah,
you need to knock on doors, knock on as many doors as you can, and it's okay if people say no. Knock again next year. Keep
yeah,
knocking because you never know, and that's good. And like for your trail and everything and sharing, like that's great. Like that we see a lot of that now, and a lot of like I think they sponsor some of the New Hampshire Bass Nation or
they
the
do. Yeah,
TBF and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and you make a name for yourself and getting in with the right people. It's all about networking and who you
yeah.
know. So
Yeah, you got to be able to talk to people, but you also the most important part is, and this is when I found as a turning point to getting responses, was what can you do for them? They don't care about someone just reaching out and say, "Hey, I want to be on your pro staff." Do this. They don't want to do the research on you. You have
mhm.
to let them know, tell them what you can provide them and how, and let
Yep.
let them decide if that's worth it for them or not. That's when I started getting a lot more, at least responses. Some no's, a couple yeses, but it's definitely helps when you have kind of this brand identity to say, I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing TikTok, I'm doing Instagram, I'm doing Facebook, all that
Yep.
crap, and I have a platform to actually push your stuff. So, advice for anybody that's looking for sponsorships: make sure you have something to give, because nobody's just going to give something to you without something in return.
And for me, I've kind of learned that the hard way. I've gotten actual monetary sponsors that would have been even more monetary if I would have had more of an Instagram buildup or
Mm-hmm.
more of everything. So, like for me, after this season, I'm definitely gonna try to grow all that and get involved more. Maybe come chat with you some more and help push everybody. And that's what they want to see. They want eyes. They want everything.
Yeah.
Even for my Facebook, I have 1,700 followers, and I was like, well, do I start a new one or do I just transition my personal one into a professional profile? And I was like, I want to bring everybody with me, so I just did it that way. So
So
you know
you changed to a business profile instead of a personal?
Yep, I changed
Yeah.
to a professional digital creator profile just because I do want to start making content,
Yeah.
and I want to build a following, and I already had that following, and just to be able to like start new and try to keep inviting people or try to get the people I already have, I didn't want to put that on everyone. I kind of wanted to just if you want, I'm here. You've been friends with me.
Yeah.
If you want to follow along, stay. If you don't like looking at fishing stuff, then I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. What I forgot to ask you this. What battery, so you talked about lithiums, but what batteries did you go with?
So I don't have a lithium battery brand right now that's
Okay.
sponsoring me. Um, I currently own three different types of lithium batteries. So
Okay.
I have a whole mishmash of stuff. When I won the national championship, they set me up with a whole Impulse lithium package. So I
Okay.
have I have cranking, trolling, everything. I also have a whole Miller Tech package that I have. I
Yeah.
also have my first lithium package, which was ionics that I ran originally when I got into lithiums. So right now, I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about that. That's kind of what I was saying. I'm building some connections at the networking at the expo because there was a lot of
Yeah.
lithium guys there, and I
Yep.
liked what I saw. And there's a lot of really good technology coming out that I would like really like to push and I'd like to have in my boat. So
Yeah.
that's something I'm working to. I got some phone calls out there and some messages. I got a bunch of
Okay.
business cards in my wallet, so that's something in the works for sure.
Well,
Um,
let me ask you this: an answer. If you don't want to answer, just plead the fifth.
okay.
Because I've got Dakotas, and
Yep.
this is the first time. Well, I don't have Dakotas. I'm sorry. I am quoting Dakotas in the new one,
Okay.
right? Because that's what he stocks.
Hmm.
In my boat right now, I have Battleborns, and
Hmm.
they've been phenomenal. But I feel like lithium technology is very similar across the board now. It's just a brand. It's just a brand fight. Do you
Yes.
have you heard anything about Dakotas?
Yeah, I've heard about Dakotas. Yep.
Because I know a lot of guys are running them around. I mean, Sharon does it. I think he might. I don't know if he's sponsored by him, but he definitely runs Dakotas. Um, have you heard anything negative about them?
No, I haven't really. Um, there. You know what? I think a lot of companies that when they first started were still refining the technology. So
Yeah.
there was probably some hiccups along the way. I've had some batteries that the Bluetooth would stop working and stuff like that. And I think everyone's getting a lot better at it now. So I mean, if you're getting into the lithium technology now, you're picking a good time. If you might have gone into it when it just started, you know, I've had some hiccups with batteries where nothing was my fault, but some have given out and stuff like that. So,
Right.
I can't say anything bad about any particular brand. There are some other brands that are coming out with another technology of lithium, where lithium is a wet cell type battery,
Yeah.
and that's where they have a lot of issues with like damaging them, firing, because a wet cell is easy to damage. Now there is a company or a couple companies out there that are doing a hard cell lithiums, and they're no liquid, and they're actually half the weight of lithiums, and
Okay.
they last longer, but in comparison, they're more expensive. So like,
Yes.
it'd be nice that's the newest technology. That'd be nice, but it's still new. So there's a lot of it's amazing how many companies are out there doing this now, all the different types of lithium. So it's really it's funny. I mean, just a few years ago, we all had these 1,000 pounds of batteries in the back of our
Right.
boats, and like taking them out every winter, breaking our backs, bringing them in the house, and things have definitely changed and made it a little easier. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, there was a trend when they first came out. It was don't hook them up because they'll blow your battery. They'll blow your boat up.
Yeah, your
Right.
boat will float away.
Nobody knew if they worked or not. I think someone on the professional series had a boat issue with them.
Yep.
Um, then a couple of years later, it was okay. They're getting better. They're getting better. Now we're here now with you have all lithiums, and I don't even know if I could tell you one that has any quality issues over more quality issues than another. Right?
Right.
You look at the warranties. Some have 10, some have 11, so they have huge warranty numbers. Some batteries have the Bluetooth technology, right?
Hmm.
So if you want to know, if you want to hook up your phone to see how much juice your batteries have, that's probably something that you'd want to look into, right? That's a
Hmm.
nice to have. Um, and to be honest, I was looking at Militech as well.
Hmm.
They've got the Bluetooth capability, but you're paying for that too. Like their cost is a little higher than a Dakota. Um, and Dakota doesn't have the Bluetooth. But if I'm getting the charge, I have an app that shows the voltage anyways. So I don't necessarily need that Bluetooth. So again, it's all about how you're setting your system up if you even need those different technologies. With the new hard cell, if the only advantage is going to be weight, I don't see it
So,
doing
so there is a lot of advantage. They last longer. I just know because I talked to the guys at the event. They do last longer. They're more
in what capacity though? What do you mean they last longer?
you get way more hours and time out of them. Like
So the amp hour specs are different.
yeah. So like
Okay.
let's just say for example, at full full percentage in your trolling motor, you get like, let's say you get 8 hours out of this one battery.
Yeah.
There's you maybe get like 12 to 15. So it's a lot more. It's almost double the time. And the advantage of the hard cell is it doesn't get damaged. They've tried to light them on fire.
Yeah.
They've tried to damage them to see if anything's wrong with them, and they can't. So like I run a lot of rough, Winnipesaukee stuff like that, big
Right.
waves. Like I still go fast in those, and I beat the crap out of everything. That's
Yeah.
not necessarily great for a wet cell lithium battery, where
Yeah.
these would actually hold up a lot better, that type of stuff. And these are half the weight of lithiums. So it's pretty interesting. There's definitely a lot of technology. You talked about Miller Tech. I spoke with them, and they actually are coming out with a charger that is also like your power pole charge.
Yeah. I knew
It
that.
it'll be a charger that's in the boat, but it has a power. It has like an onboard charger that'll run off the alternator of the motor and everything, and
Hmm.
charge your batteries up while you're running. And then there'll also be a function on there for, let's say you kill your lithium and you have to wake it up or jump it. There'll be a jump, section, just like you
Hmm.
said, that you have on the power. So there's a lot of
Yep.
companies. They're all once one figures it out, the next one does it. So I mean, it's
Yes.
just, and it's funny too, because it's almost like a catch-22 for us, the consumer, because we're like, oh, we got to have these now. But then in just like computers, oh, we get this 8 to 10 year warranty, but then in 3 years, everyone's onto this next technology. So like
Right.
you
Right.
almost want to pick something that's got good reviews, and at least other people are like, oh, this is definitely what you want to have. And I think if you follow a lot of the pros, like they're the ones that spend a lot of time on the water. They spend more time on the water than any of us do. That's their living. So I mean, if anyone's gonna know, they're gonna know. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. And again, back to the hard sell stuff too. If they're not coming out with a warranty that's 20 years,
right,
it's going to be a hard sell in my eyes, at least for the first couple of years.
yeah,
Because you don't have the quality issues on lithiums right now, like the
nope.
wet cells. You're not seeing a lot of it. Like I don't. Maybe you do a little more, um, but I don't see a lot of damage happening to wet cells.
Mhm.
Um, even though you say that you can damage a wet cell pretty good in rough water. I mean, I'm still not seeing it, but again,
Yeah,
maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But I think the only way that hard cell starts to make a market for itself is if you're doing something extremely uh, way better than the warranty on the wets. And I don't know.
I find it interesting because the Weatherall, Alex Weatherall,
Yeah,
he's running that type of hard cell battery, and I talked to him about it and everything, and he's got a Bass Cat, and obviously he he's no weight in the back of his boat now,
yeah,
and these all these boats are built to run with lead batteries, like they're built to
yeah,
have the weight in the back. So this is changing a lot. Like it's changing the way boat companies are building their boats now.
yes,
It's definitely changing the market for sure. And us as a consumer, we're just, we're scared. It's almost scary because it's a lot of money. It's like buying a wedding ring, you know.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
you might be stuck with this one for a while, so make a good choice, you know what I mean?
Correct. And you hit the nail on the head. I was just going to say it. It's like, at what point does the weight of the batteries now affect performance of the boat or safety of a ride when you're
Yeah.
going 70 or 80 miles an hour?
Yeah, and obviously the professionals, they're just getting handed, like I know that I'm a professional. Nobody's handed me anything yet, but like a lot of the guys that have been there for a while, they're just getting new ones every year or two anyway. So and then
Right.
reselling the ones they have. So like I guess we'll never really know, but
Right.
the people
Exactly.
that know the best are probably, the guys that are fishing a lot locally, that fish a lot, and we're running the same one for years or whatnot and
Yeah.
everything. So.
Yeah.
I think they all have their lives. It's funny how those warranties work because I've ju I just sent a battery in that with the Bluetooth went out and I was having some issues with the battery. I sent it out and fully expecting to get a battery back, and I got a message saying, "Oh, there was water in it." So we can't take
Mm.
the warranty. And now I'm like, well, isn't it meant for a boat? Like I didn't submerge it. I wasn't using it as a drop shot weight. I don't know how there's water in it. Like, aren't they supposed to be
It's
waterproof? I almost want to call them and give them a hard time, but it's just
yeah.
they always find their way to make it a little harder for you to,
True.
it's an expensive move, but it's a good move to get away from the leads because I mean they only last a couple years. Depending upon how much you fish, they only last maybe 3 years if you're lucky,
Right.
and I mean you really gotta take care of them. So
Yeah, they made it so that the warranty on 10 years, you're buying new lead acids every two, you're buying five, and the cost for five lead acids is about $1,000, 200, 200 each, right? So any lithium, that's 12 volts is going to be around that 8 to 1,000. So
yeah,
they made it just under, they knew what they were doing when they were marketing these things.
oh yeah, for sure.
Um, but I heard things about Dakota similar to what you were just talking about, where warranty issues are kind of difficult from a customer service point of view. And that's the
Yeah.
one thing I'm a little nervous about with Dakota, but I've had lithiums and mind you battleborns, which were they were very very expensive with a 10-year warranty, um, and I haven't had any issues. So I don't anticipate any issues because I'm certainly not fishing 5 days a week.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be putting this thing through the ringer. Um, but
The,
that's just
I,
why I'm just rolling the dice.
the technology is amazing now. I spoke with the Miller Tech guy, so I can't speak for all the brands. I'm sure they're all coming along doing something like this, but the Miller Tech guys are doing something where you open up your Miller Tech app, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're having a problem with your battery, they can actually access your battery from their office through the
Yeah,
computer, and they can actually say your battery goes into protection mode because you have an issue or whatever. They can actually turn it back on for you, and if there's one cell that's not working correctly, they can actually turn that cell off so at least your battery works for you still while you have it, and they'll just send you a new one. So there are some companies that are really trying to, if you got a really good product and you're confident in it, then then I mean I guess they can do that and it works out great. I haven't heard any bad things.
yeah,
My batteries issues that I was having problems wasn't Dakota, it was another brand, but
yeah,
yeah, things happen.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you need somebody on Militech's end to shut down a cell. I feel like
Right,
the technology should be there to just for the battery to go. You know what? This is dead. Kill that cell.
exactly.
Send a note over to Militech to say this cell's dead. Need a new one.
Yep.
Right. Instead of it being almost like a two-way, have it be a one-way street of data, right? So they'll know already that you just lost a cell,
Hmm.
and then they'll be able to be proactive about it. I feel like that should be technology that should be
Oh,
better,
that'll probably be next year. We'll be talking
right?
about this next year, and that'll be the
Right.
next thing. It's
Yep.
the technology just keeps changing every year. It keeps getting better and better and better and better, and so do the electronics and everything else. It's
Yeah.
amazing that we're in an outdoor sport that's for your normal man to go out and have fun, and now you need to have a degree, and
I
you
know.
know, it's amazing now.
I know. And where do lithiums go besides the hard cell stuff? Where else would they go?
Yeah.
What else is going to happen? To get them smaller. You know, can you get them? Can you make them any smaller? Because the compartments in these boats. I mean, I know if you're talking the big guys, you've got tons of room, and I think boat manufacturers are kind of prioritizing battery storage now because of all the stuff that the guys are doing in
Hmm.
the back. Pumps, chargers, extra technology, extra batteries for just their electronics, that type of stuff. There's the need for more space back there.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm wondering if that will prompt kind of a redesign of batteries to see a smaller case. You saw it with Militech. Did you see that? They had I think it was a 12 volt, two
190
12
or
two 12
222.
volt batteries at 100 amp hour. One was smaller than the other. And we asked what the difference was. And all he said was, it's the size. That's it.
Yeah.
So I look at the other one, I'm going, well, why is that one still available then? Right? Nobody's going to want the bigger one once they see it's the same amp hours on a smaller size.
Yeah.
Unless their boat's made for a specific size and it's what the guys want. But I mean, that's the stuff that's got to happen. Those 36 volt, 110 amp hours from Dakota, those are huge. They're long. You got to make them smaller. I feel like
Yeah.
that's where there's some of the priority is going to be for the next couple of years. That's just me
And
though.
and there's still a fair share of guys out here that are like, I'll just run my leads, my
Oh yeah,
regular lead batteries. And you know what?
I can
They're
give you one name right now that does that.
they've been working forever. So who's
Yeah,
that?
Mike Vining.
Oh yeah,
Lead acids till the day he dies.
yeah. I mean they've worked. We've done it for years. They work fine. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can do it. You can still do it. There's no reason at all. And you can
Yeah,
even do it with a power pole charge or whatever, and you'll be fine.
yeah. And he complains about it every 2 years when he needs new ones.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
that's the thing. Yeah. I just, as you get older though, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pick those things up and pull them out of the boat every winter when winter comes around. I mean, maybe the guys down south don't have to worry about it. They just leave them in the boat all year. But us, man,
Right.
we gotta winterize them and do all that fun stuff. So
You pull them?
I take them out every winter. Yeah, I take all my batteries out every winter. I have
I
no
don't. I
batteries on
don't.
the boat right now.
I don't do it for the Battleborns right now because they're rated at a temperature that we will never see.
Right.
So what I do is I keep them plugged in, so there's a
Mhm.
little bit of heat in there, so it's so it doesn't freeze back there.
They do have some of the lithiums do have self heaters in them and everything, so
Yeah,
it keeps them.
yeah, and it's just a pain in the ass in this boat to take them out. So
Yeah.
with the express boat, if I just have two batteries, one of them's lithium, I'll just leave the AGM in there, and
Yep.
I'll pull the lithium because it's just one.
I've always
You know,
pulled
it's
my
much easier.
AG. I've always pulled my AGMs every winter just because I've ended up getting more years out of them if I do.
Really, yeah.
But and then I've been lazy and left them in there sometimes. But
I've been lazy. I don't actually shrink wrap.
no.
So I created. So the last time I got shrink wrapped at NECC in Rochester, he built this wooden frame
Hmm.
and he wrapped around it. I kept the wooden frame and just bought two huge tarps.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything else. I
I honestly,
pull the electronics out, and just do that.
I put my boat cover on and I put a tarp over it, and I got my big broom. Every time it snows, I go out there and push it right off the tarp, and that's what
Yep.
I've been rolling with that for years. I know I'm on a budget. I don't spend another $600 to $800 to have the thing perfectly winterized every year because my
Right.
winterizing, I usually fish right into like around here, the rivers usually don't freeze until like early January. This year was a
Yeah.
little different, but I've been able to fish almost all year round except for maybe 2.5 months. So
Yeah.
what am I? I'm going to spend $600 to wrap my boat for 2.5 months. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. So like,
Correct.
yeah.
Exactly.
And when I had my tin rig, I would just go out there every 4 weeks and start it up real quick for 30 seconds and then turn it off.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
I
All
love it.
right. Listen, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we did all
I
right.
think we crushed it.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, I got to get to bed. But let's. Johnny Levesque Fishing is the
Mhm.
Instagram account, correct? Or is that
You,
the Facebook account?
that's the Facebook account.
All
I
right,
don't
that's
want.
the Facebook account. I'm gonna look up what you are on Instagram right now.
Can you still hear me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at my Instagram, looking for it. I got the new phone.
Did you sign it up as John underscore Levesque underscore fishing?
Yep,
Oh,
that's it.
I'm gonna follow you right now.
Yep, follow me. Get in on there.
I probably should have done that already, but
I got 0 posts up.
yes, this account is private too. You might want to make that public so
Oh,
everybody can see you.
I got to figure out how to do that.
Yes, you do. That's just a profile setting. We can figure that out later.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, that's John JOHN underscore Levesque. That's LEVESQUE underscore fishing. He is the newest New Hampshire professional on the MLF Invitationals this year. So follow him along on his journey. Go check out. I'm going to link all of the sponsors that have helped him make this dream a reality. We thank all of them for helping out. Other than that, we didn't even talk about hockey, which sucks. Maybe we'll save that for the hockey fishing guys Instagram brand.
Yeah, we'll do that again. We'll get in there.
Yeah, and then I think Hog Squad is our new brand soap.
Oh, I can't wait to tell them that. We're going to put the jerseys together and everywhere. It's going to be great.
But anyways,
I might sponsor the team and make jerseys just for him.
that'd be a riot. I'm in though. I better be in. All right.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, Johnny, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck this year. I know you leave in a couple weeks or next week.
Yep. Next end of
So
next week.
good luck. If you need anything while you're out there, let me know. And that's it. That's episode 3, season 3, the Aluminum Fishing Series podcast. Again, I'm Chris, your host, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, John.
Thank you.